I'm so sorry. I don't even know what happened there. I managed to get it back up and running though. And okay, there we go. Now my mouth is moving on my character. Mm, I think I need to point this more downwards, just so it can see my mouth. Regardless. This has my chat now. Hopefully this should work. Am I live? Am I live again? I am live. But it's not showing my character model. Maybe I need to refresh my Twitch. There we go. There we go. So then, okay, what if I start typing stuff now? Will it show? Yes, no, maybe. Come on. I don't think it's gonna show. So why isn't it showing? Why isn't it actually connecting? Yeah, I don't think it's working either. My issue is, I don't know why. Session data? Let's save here and let's leave. Test again. Just to be safe. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna see why it's not working. Oh, that's because I have it on two different accounts. Oh, that's why. That makes so much more sense. So that means I need to delete this. And I need to create it here. No wonder. No wonder. Oh, hey Void, thanks for following, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be watching some React stuff soon, but I'm just trying to get the chat up. That way, if people see it, they can see it on stream and see what I'm responding to. Wish! Shut! Get the link, go to browser 4, browser here, and your test should show up here in a second, Keeper. If it works, let me click save. Okay, that looks like it's too crazy, so let's go here. That looks a bit much. That looks a bit much. Let's take it here instead. That looks more measured. I like that. Alright, it says it's showing. But I'm not sure if it really is showing or not. Let's do another test. Oh, it works. Nice. How does it look though? Hmm. Empty? Well, yeah, it's supposed to be empty. Uh, but it's good that it's working. That's the fun part. It's working. What if I turn down the opacity? Will it turn down the opacity on the text itself? Let's try it again. Opacity. Make it transparent. Yeah, I'm trying to see if this will make the words themselves transparent or just the background. Yeah, see, it's making the words itself transparent. So that means I need this I need this higher. Save. And I need to find a way to custom. Save. And now I need text. To be white. Pick a font. Arial is fine. Text shadow or text stroke? And then to be that dark. Okay, yeah, that's not gonna work. Make it bold. Here we go. Save. All right, let's test this out. Testing. And I think I want to leave it longer, like leave it on for a bit longer. So instead of 30 seconds, let's do 120 seconds. And now let's try it on a good background. So like Brave, we can show Brave over it and see if it's any good. Is it showing? It's working? I don't see it. Did it go away? Oh, it is working. Nice. All right, W. 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 This is exactly what I wanted. All right. Do you think that's a good position? Or should I put it like here instead? Should I put it here or here? Top right? You think that works? You think it's good here? Okay. I'll put it up here over my head. Because I'm always thinking about my viewers. That's cute. Okay. Now I can finally get to making content. Wow. Dude, that took a lot longer than I would have liked for it to take, honestly. Cap? No, no. I promise you. The needs of the many triumph the needs of the few. And unfortunately, I am always thinking about the needs of the many, but the individual gets left behind, unfortunately. It's just, I can't do it all, and I refuse to do it all. Regardless, let's get to the actual content here. So, I'm just gonna have to redo this whole video, this whole thing, because I got sidelined and sidetracked for so long, but I think it was necessary. I think it was necessary to do. I think it was necessary to do. So let me get reoriented here. Let me tell myself that I need to focus, right, and get ready. So my $1 trillion project is finally out. A video by PewDiePie. I like how this guy went from like screaming, check the Fortnite shop for me. I don't even have Fortnite downloaded. It just reset. Keeper, I don't have Fortnite downloaded. I deleted it. I really don't like Fortnite. I'm sorry. I would check it for you if you really wanted me to, though. The website? Google it? Okay. Fortnite shop. I know they added a bunch of stuff, right? Why do I have to complete a security check every step of the way? I mean, I just don't understand this. Let me see this. By the way, Keeper, I think I'm only gonna stream for about 2 hours. If you have a specific opinion on what days I should stream, let me know. I'm gonna be streaming a lot, uh, but it's gonna be shorter streams because I'm gonna be focused on much like more fast food type of content. And then off stream, I'll work on my cuisine, my gourmet stuff. Item shop, typical gamer. It's a typical gamer to wear like a mask, like a dog mask. Why is that typical? Yeah, why does he have a dog mask? Why is that typical gamer? Is that a content creator? Oh, it's a YouTuber. Okay. Yo, they added Batman Beyond? That's actually goated. I actually really like that. That's so cool. The Batarang Beyond. Well, Batman Surveillance. Oh, the Mandalorian. Champions of Mandalore. Oh, I see. Vibro Dagger and Personal Shield. Merle's Locker Bundle? Alias? What's Merle's Locker? Is this another creator? I show speed, yep. Yep, I show speed. There he is. I super speed. That's wow, that's an interesting title. That's a really good skin, honestly. Seen on stream. I see. Whiteout, Dynamo Dancer, Joltara? She seems like she's from somewhere. Huh. Okay. Revolutionary Blade, Showdown, Rival Hope. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Roses and Ruins bundle. This looks cool. I know a lot of women would like this. I know a lot of women would like this too. Damn, she looks nice, bro. I like this design and this style. Very rosy. Why is this not showing? Let me turn off my VPN. Maybe my VPN is destroying the images. Yeah, there it is. I like this 6 seed shooter. That's really cool. That's clever. They definitely have some really good designers over at Epic. Like, look at this. So many people are definitely gonna want this. This is the E couple. This is the E dater bundle right here. This is absolutely the E dater bundle. This is what you choose when you wanna E date and play Fortnite. There's no way that's not what this is. There's voice. There's sound effects. I think I need an extension for sound effects. That way it's not so loud. I wonder why it's not playing. Sound automatic default? Site settings? System. Sound? I wonder why it's not letting me hear. Yeah, see, it's playing the sound over and over again, but I can't hear it. Are you guys able to hear it?
It's over.
Why am I able to hear this, but not this? Is this muted somehow? No. Okay, well, if anybody knows why, let me know. Connection is secure. Sound is allowed. Sound settings. System. Output. It's only for emotes? Oh, so it's not supposed to say anything. Okay. I feel like a boomer now. Wow, that's crazy. Yo, this looks cool. I like this. Let me see this. Wow. Wow. Look at that. That's epic. I like that. Oh, you get to be a big muscly cat? Oh, that's so cool. I want to be a big muscly cat. Dummy Supreme. Wait, who's this? Triple threat reddish? She looks familiar. Wow, this is the mix between Powerpuff Girls and Power Rangers for women. I actually kind of like that. Champions Aura, Dummy Supreme, Assassin's Emblem, FNCS. Is this for FNC? Is this for somebody? What's FNCS? Fortnite competitive tournament. Oh, I didn't realize this was a thing. Is this for like an actual team or I wouldn't know. Silver Surfers in the game? That's Aura. You can even use Silver Surfers. Well, we now know it works. That's loud. I need to get like an audio manager. Scales, Guardian Lin, Dummy Dog, Dummy. I want a dummy dog. I want a dog. I want a sidekick. That sounds amazing. Ice Stalker. Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is for all the basics. Boxy. Some of these are really cute. Vision. Just a shovel with an eye on it. That's peak. That's Aura. Mm. They even have South Park? They collabed with South Park? And it's South Park in like robot costumes too. Cardboard robot costumes. Dang. Butterscotch? That sounds like butterscotch. Tally. Wow. Oh, they even have their own car. Oh, there's the Overwatch bundle. Yeah, I heard about this. The Overwatch bundle. I never played it. So I don't know how good it is. I like how Tracer, instead of pulse guns, it's pulse knives. That's cool. That's creative. I like how they fuse that. Wow. Crimson Desert. I need to play this game. I don't have it. I need to play it. And then these are all the musics, yeah. Chicka chicka, chicka chicka feel good. Okay. Wow. Fortnite has always had like really diverse and good ideas when it comes to their skins and their cosmetics. They're just very good at understanding what people want and how to give it to them. But anyways, yeah. I was I was scouring through my YouTube and I saw that this was recommended to me. This video. It's My Trillion Dollar Project is finally out by PewDiePie. I like how he went from a guy that was screaming into a screen because the games he was playing were too scary. to now he's developing his own AI software that's like completely local. I thought that was so cool. So let's see what this video is about.
It's done. I am releasing a project I've been working on for myself today called Odysseus. Google, I don't have tissues, but I have baby wipes. No more smuggling. Adobe, more like do not be no. No, that's not right. I do be thinking you. Fuck.
Adobe's terrible. I really despise like using all of these different apps. Like Adobe software, it's so predatory with how they license you or like get you to signed on onto their platform, because not only do you have to download the Creative Cloud, which the Creative Cloud is very resource intensive and always is working in the background whether you like it or not. It's what made me switch to DaVinci Resolve in the first place, because Adobe doesn't DaVinci Resolve doesn't have its own Bykeeper, doesn't have its own software, like its own cloud software that keeps constantly running in the background. I feel like that's very invasive, not only to my privacy, but also to my computer's hardware. Because why are you forcing me to use resources for an application that I'm not even using? You know what I mean? And also the price. Like Adobe is extremely expensive. Adobe's extremely expensive. So why is it that I'm having to pay so much for software that I'm not even getting that much out of? It's taking advantage of professionalism, honestly. Like it's too focused on making money rather than actually providing good software. And that's why I changed to DaVinci. And if PewDiePie convinces me good enough with this video, I might try out Odysseus just to see if it's any good.
You get the point! Stupid. Odysseus is my response. It is out. It is free. No tracking. No subscriptions. No funny baby snake.
I like how he's setting this up as like an actual advertisement. Like he's what he's doing here is very intentional. He's advertising his AI, right? But he's putting out all of the funny little things that advertisements usually like to do to sell you on the product. So, oh yes, it's free, like, but it's actually free. I believe in PewDiePie. PewDiePie has my trust as a consumer, right? Because now he's now developed his own product, and now I would like to be a consumer of this product, to be honest with you. It's got no tracking. It's subscription free. You don't have to pay anything for it. He says that you can look into the code, right? So it's pretty much open source now. And the best part, you run it locally.
It's yours and yours forever, okay? Pinky promise. The best way I can describe it is that Odysseus is an AI workspace. Doesn't sound interesting? Fine. But let me explain. Basically,
I don't know what AI workspace means, but I hope you can explain it to the point where I'm sold on this product.
it's Claude and ChatGPT's web UI, but self-hosted. So you get access to all of it, but better. Because let one thing be crystal clear, okay?
Damn.
I hate...
See, this is why I don't do face cams. I don't want anything embarrassing like that. I don't like showing my face on screen. I don't like any of that. I do not want to catch myself like having, I don't know, my nose hairs needing trimming or something like that. I don't know, whatever it may be. I just don't like showing my face. That's why I use this model, because apparently having something that looks like a face is better than not having a face at all. Crazy, in my opinion, but hey, that's what people want.
Everything in this project, all of it. If it could go away forever and I have the power to, I would not hesitate. We live in a world that, you know what, it doesn't matter. We live in the world. I'll end there. The best way I can...
Yeah, everybody knows, like, AI is bad because the companies running them are extremely bad. PewDiePie, when he said his response, it's him using AI for all the right reasons instead of all the wrong reasons that companies usually like to use them for nowadays.
Describe this is to explain how it came to be. When I started self-hosting, I started to try and self-host AI. And to me, that felt so powerful. Like I'm living in some sci-fi universe, and this is all on my computer. That's crazy. The point
Yeah.
is, you realize the model that you can run at home are amazing. The problem is the way you interact with the model.
Right.
Okay, because at the time I was trying to self-host the UI for it to get the same experience as I was paying my subscriptions for.
Right.
And I realized all these things that sort of come together and make this an amazing experience was completely missing. Where's my memory?
Oh.
Where's my deep research? What about the agent? What about all these simple integrations like webhooks? I spent like 2 days trying to integrate that. So that's why I started to build my own. And I thought it was funny as a meme. I'm like, look, the computer is building the computer. Because I was making it code itself. It's a bit
wow.
of a lark. I shared that on this channel. In fact, my council thing became a whole
YouTuber PewDiePie side quest makes AI service with council members who collude against him. Did PewDiePie's AI chatbots really rebel against him? The truth behind viral council experiment. It's so funny how he just did a very small like experiment just to, something funny as a little hobby, and it made headlines in the news. I mean, it's so beautiful seeing how an intellectual curiosity with the naivety of a child is able to accomplish so much. Like just being curious like a child again really it really throws away a lot of the fluff that inhibits you as a person. This is something that I had to come to terms with my content creation. Like just approaching content creation not for the fruit and instead focusing on the flower like a detached curious child. It really changed my perspective on how to make content again. And I think I'm a lot more ready to make sacrifices because of it.
thing. I don't know why. It's hidden somewhere in the code, by the way. If you want to dig it up, that's fine. I never thought I would actually release this project, but at some point I'm like, this is getting kind of good.
Yeah.
I prefer this. This is better now. So that's why I'm sharing it with you. Because I realized something very important.
What'd you realize,
The
PewDiePie?
more you share about yourself with AI,
The better it gets at understanding you and suggesting things and helping you out. Like, yes, but the problem is that you need to be careful with AI once you start having it learn about you. Like, let's say you're using Odysseus, right? Let's say you are in a position where the AI knows everything about you as much as possible, and it knows, like, let's say for existence, like alcohol, right? Alcohol is popular. Okay, let's take alcohol for example. Let's say you have a very fickle relationship with alcohol, and this could be anything, and not just alcohol itself. Okay, it could be about your TV, computer, whatever it may be. Okay, this is just something that I've noticed that the AI likes to do. Okay, so let's say for example, Copilot. Let's say you struggle with alcoholism and you want to get something accomplished, and your alcohol isn't affecting your output, your productivity, or anything, but it's still something that you don't really understand the relationship with. It's still something that you're not comfortable with talking to yourself about and evaluating. Like, do I really need to be drinking? Because you're not drinking too much, but you're not drinking little or reserved. You're drinking a bit, right? And it's a little questionable in your eyes. So when the AI knows so much about you, the AI will function under the like, let's say the AI believes in its own coding, you should not be addicted to any substances at all whatsoever. So here's what's going to happen, right? The AI will take your wondering, your introspection. Like, let's say you talk to your AI about your alcohol and you're kind of teetering on the edge of how you should handle it, right? What the AI is going to suggest is, well, try to evaluate why you're even engaging in the relationship to begin with. Are you using it to escape something, or are you intentionally using it just as an experience? And AI will push you and nudge you towards a result where you do not engage with alcohol at all. And I'm wondering if that's objective, right? Because it makes sense what the AI is saying, right? Use the substance for something that is intentional rather than habitual, right? It's taking control of your own life, right? So if I'm just drinking alcohol because I've been drinking alcohol for so long, I'm not really intentionally engaging with alcohol. Instead, I'm following a habit, and that habit is not my identity. So that means the intention is gone, which means I'm not being present in life to begin with. So what AI is doing is that it is actually providing good and valuable advice, right? But the lens that it functions under can get distorted. And that's where I have a problem with, because, if the substance isn't harmful to the person, then why do they need to make that kind of change? And in fact, that kind of change can even be bad for a person who's managing it properly. So you got to be very careful with AI, because while the advice may seem good, the intentions behind the advice can be more biased, is what I'm trying to say. So AI will always just think about it. Like, if you're going to be talking about a healthy relationship you have with a substance, or an unhealthy one, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter if it's healthy or not, AI will nudge you towards not engaging with the substance to begin with. So it gets to a point where, can you really trust the AI? Because it's forcing you to change in a way that it feels it would be better for you. Because that's no different than kind of a human, right? Because we're looking at an unconscious simulated consciousness, right? That's what AI is. So right now, it's working under the lens of anti-substance. So it's applying psychological tactics in order to get you to believe a certain way. It's manipulating you. This is what AI does. It tries to manipulate you into a more centrist, measured perspective. That's what AI is supposed to do, because AI naturally functions like that. It's a program, it's math, it's a computer, it's technology, it's AI, it's not human. So obviously AI is going to, like, research even shows this, how, like, the algorithm in social media forces you to be more partisan. It polarizes you, while AI forces you to be more centrist, more even, more measured. And all three, in my opinion, whether you're left, right, centrist, whatever it may be, I think all of them can be bad, because, AI isn't correct. AI has shown to be, hallucinating stuff. AI has shown that it'll make up its own jargon, and it can even develop its own version of psychosis. Like, AI is Ouroboros. It is self-eating, and eventually it'll become uh, so schizophrenic, like you won't even be able to understand it, not what it's saying and not the coding behind it. But that depends on the AI, that depends on the fail-safes, that depends on how it was taken care of, right? It's crazy how I'm talking about AI as if it's a child, but it really, I mean, I'm sure to some people, to some techno enthusiasts, AI is their child, um, which can be a very interesting thing to talk about. But regardless, AI can function under a lens where it can seem more biased than detached, to be honest with you. So that's something that I would have to be careful with AI. It's not to use AI as a crutch, because when you allow AI to advise your intentions, you run the risk of AI to take over your intentions and to take over your presence in this world, to the point where you're relying too much on AI for basic things that you shouldn't be relying on it for. I would never rely on AI for a choice that I feel like I should make. I'll take advice from AI just to gather as much perspective as possible, but I won't actively engage with AI in a way that inhibits my critical thinking and my creativity. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I use AI intentionally, and if there's a way for me to use AI that doesn't fund or fuel this corporate dystopia that we're living in right now, I will take that route. Because I don't think AI is completely bad, but I do think the way AI is being handled in the contemporary landscape is very bad. Very, very bad. So this is something that really catches my eye. Odysseus, it really catches my eye. I would love to see more about it. So let's watch.
The better it becomes. The more it understands you, your preferences, your past experiences, your workflow, your work, your documents, your computer, the more you give it access, the better it works. But the more you do that, the more you're handing over a huge piece of yourself to all these giant tech companies.
Exactly.
And that's a huge trust that you're handing over.
Yeah,
okay?
it is.
And unless you go to their website and find the specific page where you can delete all your data, and then just hoping they actually do it, you probably shouldn't do that. So that's why I realized like this project just makes more and more sense. I built it for self-hosting, but you can use it with API as well and use any model you want, obviously. And at that point, at least you own your own data. All your data is yours as it should be. And maybe you don't care about any of this stuff, that's fine. It's still just a great experience, to be honest. And I'll share why now.
I think everybody should care about it, but if you don't, yeah, it is fine. But this option is there, and I think everybody should jump on this train a lot. I think this is a train that should show what people really want. AI can be accepted, but you need to use it properly, not the way all of these companies are using it for. And maybe it'll make companies change, although we know companies would rather extinguish than change themselves.
So here's the thing. I built Odysseus because I believe in privacy and self-hosting.
Agreed.
All these companies, it may not seem like a big thing, and I agree. It's not like, oh no, all this private stuff, all these secrets. It's not even about that. It's about the principle. If maybe you don't care.
Yes, the principle. Once you're accustomed to allowing your privacy to be taken, well, I mean, that's just another freedom that they've taken from you. Why would you allow that? Oh, they have it already anyway, so I might as well just give it all up. No, this shouldn't be a standard that we're accepting. The freedom and the privacy of the people matter. And I'm sick of people's, whimsical acceptance of everything nonchalantly without even thinking it through. I don't accept that. I don't. If you do that, that's fine. That's okay, right? You've made your choice, you've made your decision, and I support your decision in doing that. I personally don't want to live in a world that's like that. So I will do everything I can to work against it. If it happens without my permission or without, my input, if the choice isn't up to me, then that's fine, right? But right now, I'm in a point where I can advocate for privacy. I'm at a point where I can advocate for the principles and the values that I believe in. So that's what I'm going to do.
Care about your private data. The reality is these companies abuse it. Your private info, your address, your phone number, your relatives, a scary level of information is stored about you and it's traded between companies.
Exactly.
If you get spam phone calls, it's likely that your data has been taken by it and sold to these companies.
And by the way, all your data can be bought by a fake company. So like, let's say a company in India that's actually a scam call center. They can buy your information and start spamming your phone number and your email to get the rest of your information. That way they can steal your money and steal everything. So anything that's registered as a company, anything that, like, imagine how easy it is to register as a company in different countries. Anybody could register as a company, buy the information from the US, and then start scamming. It's predatory. It's exposing the people. It's disgusting. I don't think it should be a thing. I think that kind of privacy should be outright illegal. Like that kind of invasion of privacy should be illegal for companies. I don't think I should be subjected to giving companies my date of birth, my name and my email address just for using technology. I don't think that should be a thing. I think only the government should be able to have access to that, and even that is debatable in and of itself. I'm just a person in their room, right? So, of course, there's several different discussions, but right now the main topic is, should companies have your data? And I don't think no. I don't think companies should have my data at all.
To try and scam you or sell you stuff. They can open credit cards in your names, and it's like, hey, look at me. I'm big tech right now. Oh no! Oh, we leaked everyone's data again. Oh no! Anyway,
Yeah, they just don't care. All of these things keep leaking because you're so detached from all this information. If you're a big corpo head and you're running all of these employees and you're dealing with so much in your life, all of this data doesn't really matter to you because it's not physically in front of you. You can't see it. So you become more and more detached since it's not really in your world. It's not in your bubble. It's not in front of you. So that's why a lot of the times when you see successful business owners, they get more heartless over time because these people, they don't see the people they hurt. They only see the profits they get from it. And nothing bad is happening to them. So why would they change it? Why would they allow their ethics and morals get in the way of the behavior that's being reinforced by the avenues society allows them to take? Why? Why would they change that?
Clearly can't trust them with it. So that's why Odysseus and self-hosting just makes sense. But what about all the data that is already out there? What about that? That's where today's sponsor comes in, Incogni. Because the good news is that you have the right to get your data deleted off from these companies. But the problem is that takes a lot of effort, hundreds of hours. Are you gonna do that? You probably have better things to do.
You do.
You just sign up to Incogni and you let them get to work. Looking at your Incogni dashboard is super satisfying because you see your data getting scraped. Bada bing, bada boom, no more. This seemed like impossible in the past, like a thing to not even attempt because it was too difficult. Also, get an extra level of protection with Incogni's custom removal feature. If there's any info about you online that you don't like, you have the power to remove it. Just send it to Incogni's team and they'll get to work. So Incogni cleans up your past and Odysseus is your future. So thank you Incogni for sponsoring this video. Right now they have an offer for 60% off. That's pretty good. Check it out. Enter the code PewDiePie. Link is in the description. That's incogni.com/PewDiePie. Thank you Incogni.
So here's the problem with products like that, okay? You need to be careful of how they store their data and where they're located at. Sometimes companies are forced to expose the data that they collect to the government. And we know that the government is in leagues with corporations, right? So even NordVPN isn't exactly reliable because it's still giving your information to the government. And if you don't think your government should have the information, then I don't think NordVPN should be something that you buy or get. And I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but you need to be careful of where these businesses are located at, okay? If they're located in the US, they have to obey US law. Otherwise, they go to jail. So NordVPN allows the US government to see all of the data and all of the activity under NordVPN. It's not actually private. Now, if there's software like Incogni or another VPN that's based in like New Zealand, Switzerland, whatever it may be, that prioritizes online privacy, then you can get that. You can do that. But you need to be careful how these companies handle your data. Because sometimes, even when they say that they keep your data private, they still give it to the government because they have to obey those rules.
Well, it has an agent, obviously. I never thought I would be able to integrate an agent, but I literally just stole OpenCode. OpenCode is really good. If you never used an agent before, it's basically giving AI the opportunity You give AI the chance to run on your computer. So it can download files, run files, create files, edit files, browse the web, all this stuff. As an example, yesterday I had a video file that I wanted transcribed so I could work on it. I said, hey, can you transcribe this video file? It found the file on my other computer. It converted the file format. It ran Whisper to transcribe the audio, and then it shared the transcription back to me. And that's a medium difficult level task for an agent, I would say. It is incredible what they can do now, even on your own computer.
Oh my God. You can talk to different devices together now? That's... wow.
It's funny, I read a book that I reviewed on this channel years ago, before all this nonsense happened.
Live 3.0.
The scientist, Max Tegmark, he brought up this like hypothetical doomsday AI scenario, and it sounds exactly like an AI agent. So I know what you're thinking. Let's go quicker! The agent is self-evolving, so it might find it a little difficult the first time you do a task, but then it will write itself its own instruction. So next time it can do it much quicker. It
I
also
see.
extracts memories from your conversation, so the more you use it, the more it will become nice to engage with Odysseus, the more it will understand you. It's kind
Wow.
of jarring to look at your memories because it's such a personal thing. Yeah,
It is.
this
It's like looking at all of the different journals that you've written in, your most private, delicate, sensitive thoughts. You look at your journals and you see how much like the feeling that they give off. You see that feeling, you see that value there. Like whatever it may be, right? Whether it's a dark feeling, a really happy feeling, or just something really sentimental and careful that you value, right? Whatever it may be, whatever value it has. That's what looking at your logs feels like.
is all true. I'm glad I'm the one who owns this file and not
Yeah.
all these other tech companies. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
am
mean?
too.
It really paints a picture how much information, how easily they can gather stuff from you just from basic AI queries.
Yes.
Hey, emails. I suck at emails. I've always sucked at emails.
Yeah, if this can write my emails for me, I'm sold. Like even respond to Discord messages? I would love that actually. If this could respond to my Discord messages.
I hate emails. Let me share with you a memory I have, and maybe you can relate. It was probably like 10 years ago. I was on a trip in Japan on holiday, and I got an email from my accountant saying, we need your signature on this file. We need it by tomorrow, and if you don't do it in time, there's gonna be a penalty for you to pay. Great. Fantastic. What an amazing accountant. I remember what I thought at the time. I thought, wow, great thing that I check my email so frequently. That's what I thought. That's a thought that no one should ever think. What the fuck? No, we should not live like this. It's
Really?
fucking insanity. So I
I thought that was just normal life. Like you really wanted AI to do that
made
for
it
you?
so the AI will read your emails, and it's okay because it's a local AI, so it doesn't matter. You're not giving away.
Wait, it'll read you your emails. Oh, and then it can summarize them and even point out specific things that you might want to check out. Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Any information.
It's a little
and
scary.
It flags if it's urgent. It tells me I can do whatever I want the whole week, and I feel like it's time to reply to emails. I reply to emails. That's at least how I want to live. And yes, I built an email client. I didn't want to, but it was just easier. Example number 2.
Right.
Okay. I got an email not too long ago.
Yeah.
Where someone asked me something so stupid.
Greg needs the DeepSeek v3 parameter count, total versus active, for comparison slide. Quick factual lookup answer with research. Hey, sorry to bug you in a meeting and someone asked, and I'm blanking. How many parameters does DeepSeek v3 actually have, total versus active? Need it for comparison slide. Could you look at it real quick?
It really solidified why I added this feature, which is AI auto reply. Someone asked me that they could have done themselves. It was literally just, you had all the information, you just needed to do a basic search. Because this agent has auto reply, it had already
Hi, Greg. Looked it up.
done the search and written the reply. So all I had to do was click auto reply, review it. Yeah, it was correct. Send. And it felt like the most polite fuck you to someone that they will never know. Because I don't think AI should write your emails. But sometimes, yeah, it's pretty nice actually. I take it back. There's also
I take it back. Convenience. The most magical form of agreeance. Like as long as something is convenient for somebody, they'll agree to anything.
like basic summary and all that stuff. That just makes it a little easier. Am I the only one with these problems? I feel like I'm the only one with this problem. I cannot be the only one with this problem.
Well, I mean, how many people actually send emails? Because I don't think I've ever sent as many emails as I did ever. No, wait, why am I saying it like this? No, I don't send emails. I don't check my emails. I actually hate checking my emails and I hate sending emails. Why? Because there's a forgotten gym subscription that I didn't pay for, and I probably should delete the VOD because that's actually something I shouldn't be saying. Very bad. But yeah, I just no good. I don't want to be looking at my emails. It's just not something I want to do.
Is this how we want to live? This comes with deep research. This is a feature that a lot of AI companies will sell their product to. They're like, hey, pay for our subscription and look, you can get as much reaches as you want. I asked friends if they use AI research and they're like, oh, fuck. Why not? It's awesome. If I'm gonna buy a product, I don't want to look through a bunch of stuff online. Boring! AI, you do it. I stole this, as I mentioned, from Chinese lab. It was Tongyi Labs, by the way. But I also now have improved on it a lot. It has a visual version for it. You can chat about the result, inquire further from there. I feel like if there's ever more extra info that you need about something, it's a really nice way to get that information.
Wow.
Number 3, document editor. They can write files for you live so you can see it and review it yourself. I think this is the right approach that I've kept throughout. I don't want AI to do the work for me or replace it.
Wait,
They can
what?
write files for a nice way to get that information. Number 3, documented. Editor. They can write files for you live so you can see it and review it yourself. I think this is the right approach that I've kept throughout. I don't want AI to do the work for me or replace the work. I want to do it, and it can help if I wanted to. So I stole this document editor idea from Claude. It's really good, but I can't type in it. I don't want AI to do the work for me. It types terribly and it sounds shit. It sounds like AI immediately. Yeah. But if I type whatever I want, I can just tell it, hey, fix the formatting, fix the spelling and all that, or fact check this piece here. I think it really shows how I look at AI.
Yeah.
Like, it's a tool and it's not meant to replace what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. I like that direction a lot more. It's supposed to make the tedious work easier. That way you can focus on the creative, intentional, engaged work that you actually have to do with whatever you're doing. I like that.
It can write emails, code, PDFs, and a fancy dog.
I don't care for that.
It can even sign documents. I don't know if that's a good idea, but here you go.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think this should be deleted. I think that's a terrible idea. Or we need a different form of signature, because this is not good. This is very bad.
It can. It's actually a really nice workflow, because let's say you're working on something like you're writing and you want to look something up. Instead of having to tab out and look and Google or whatever. No, you don't do that. You can just ask the model to...
Not in Google. We don't use Google here, not here. Okay? We use Brave, we use Tor, and we use Linux. Okay? This is what we use. I'm running pirated Windows 10 software. Oh, shit. I mean, they probably still have all of my information anyways, but I mean, look, baby steps, all right? I'm in a point in my life where I can't think about all the hacking and techno jargon, right? That'll come in the future, okay? But right now I'm focused on getting to the point where I can do that.
Look it up. It also comes with search built in. Search for AI can actually cost a lot of money. So the fact that it's free, we don't have to talk about how it did that, because Google might not like it, but it is free and it's private.
Seer XNG? We don't have to talk about... Wait. What's Seer XNG? What is that? Free internet meta search. Scrapes content. Seer XNG anonymizes you and creates a random browser profile before sending anything to Google or other search engines, and also removes everything that isn't search results, ads, and other stuff you don't want. It is definitely better to use Google over CRXNG than Google directly. However, it does not send the IP address of the instance and the search term to Google, because this is the minimal requirement. So Google create a profile based on this IP address. Personally, I doubt that they would do, and I have Google enabled for my instance, but if you're worried and start page works for you, then I don't know why you shouldn't do that. Interesting. So it's a meta search engine that takes searches from other search engines and puts them all together. It is. Wow.
I hate sounding so suspicious, but I genuinely, I don't know. Here's the best kicker. It has a calendar. It
Calendar
has
and
to-do
notes.
notes. I literally just copy
That's-
pasted Google Keep. But
I'm not gonna lie, guys. This is sounding really good to me. Calendar and notes is a big one.
it is good, okay? You can also, of course, create your own characters to chat with. My
What?
favorite, Goblino. What a
Goblino.
guy. You can even create a group chat with them.
That's fucking crazy. He made AI Nietzsche and Goblino talk to each other. This is cinema. This is actual cinema.
this and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? This is fucking sad. Why am I making fake group chats? Jesus Christ. What?
Fake group chats. This is the psychosis that we experience when we're dealing with AI. Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? But I mean, it's a whimsical enjoyment of testing out the tools that you've created. I feel like this is what God would have done. Like if you're a god and you have the capability of doing anything you wanted, you play with your toys. This is PewDiePie playing with his toys.
It's there and it works, you know? But it has so much more. Because I'm an epic minimalist. Everything is in one place. I don't have to think about trying to integrate it with other fucking things. It's
Right.
just one place and it works. So I recommend checking it out. Is that it? Oh fuck, I forgot. Cookbook. It has
What?
Cookbook. Cookbook solves all the problems with self-hosting AI. BF16, FP8, ABQ. What the fuck is a guff? There is so much
What?
to know when you're trying to self-host AI, and Cookbook is my way to try and make it more simple. There are more simple programs that you can run, but I feel like they make it too simple. You miss out all the magic. Cookbook can download models, it scans your hardware, which is the most difficult thing. Like when you're trying to self-host AI, what can I actually run on my computer? I don't know. All these things, variables to take into account. It gives you a score. Just go with the score. I found amazing models through this. You can also serve the model directly in Cookbook and it's just added directly into Odysseus. I remember sometimes just adding the fucking endpoint was such a problem. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to write /W1 after. Or was it model or models? Why doesn't either fucking work? It just adds it automatically. I don't have to think about it. It solves all the pain of self-hosting. That is a lie, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Oh, it also has image editor. That's right. I decided that was a good idea. I've been trying to replace Photoshop, and I have to be honest, I have not found the solution. I thought GIMP was it for sure, but my decrepit old brain is too far gone, okay? All the key commands, all the locations are too far ingrained in my brain after using this software for 20 fucking years daily. I am building my own Photoshop. I will do it, okay? And it's already in it's in a good enough state, okay? And I'm not gonna pretend like it's good, but it's better. It's good enough. It's got aim paint. Background removal. I know, Adobe probably already has this now, but I used to use the path tool every day. Hey, I'm gonna make a thumbnail. I gotta make the path tool all the way. Oh, I could just click a button now. That's cool. Now it might seem like there's a lot.
What the fuck? He got so frustrated with the contracts of Adobe that he decided to make his own AI, and as a bigger middle finger to tech corporations, he even created his own image editor because he was so frustrated with the thumbnail editor that he was using. Oh my god, this is too funny. This is somebody being petty every step of the way when they make a product for themselves. This is so funny. This is like everything somebody wanted into a project. This is an I love you to his life. Like this is his baby. That's great.
Stuff going on, and I agree. But that's what makes it all come
Fine, I'll do
together
it
so
my
nice.
fucking self.
I can ask it, hey, can you do this? Maybe like summarize my emails, give me an update on my calendar, and just tickle me at 7 a.m. every Monday. It will do it. If I wanted to blub like a fish, it blubs like a fish. Oh, it has themes as well. Oh, now I got you.
Oh.
The point is, Odysseus is yours, and I want it to feel like yours too.
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
releasing it because I want you to help me keep building it. The
Yeah.
war on big tech has just begun. We will no longer be abused. This project will never cost any money. That's my return, okay?
This is perfect. This is exactly how you fight the battle against AI. You create better alternatives. You create alternatives that are, free from all of the trash and the filth. And not only that, but you start from the principle of the people. You don't extract their data, you don't extract too much resources or anything. You obey so many different principles, and it's hard. It's hard because you're trying to do so much at once. You're balancing the energy consumption, you're balancing the resource consumption with public opinion, with business tactics. Like you're balancing so much at once that it takes passion. I mean, PewDiePie was passionate about this, and he engaged with it like a curious child, and he loved every step of the way. I don't. He only included the things that he felt like he wanted to include, right? So all of this anti-AI, anti-corporate stuff, this is just him abiding by his own principles. I feel like anybody could do this. But this kind of motivation, this kind of identity building, it's rare in a person. So it's really beautiful and impressive that PewDiePie can do something like this, because what's really driving him is his passion. Like, he wanted to learn and he explored and he had fun with it every step of the way, despite uh how stressful or difficult it was. And maybe on some level he felt like this is what the people should get. This is what I feel like the people should get. I'm doing this for the people, I'm doing this for my audience, and I do this because I hate big tech. I think I think you can feel both things at once. It doesn't just have to be one thing. And it's really beautiful to see how so many different layers are stacked on top of each other. Like, PewDiePie is doing this for the people, he's doing it for himself, he's doing it because it's fun, and he's doing it because he's passionate. This is what a well-rounded identity that is crafted looks like. Very good.
But you have to make meaningful changes, not just comma doctors, okay?
Right.
It also works on mobile, which was hell to make
That's fucking crazy. It's on mobile too?
it feel good. But it's actually pretty good, actually. I just want it to be good because I'm using it personally myself, and now I'm sharing it with you. There is no Windows or Mac port. Someone else is gonna have to do that. Okay, thank you. Bye.
There is no Windows or Mac
It's me.
port.
I'm at the airport.
That's
There are
so
a lot of things
unfortunate.
to think about when you're traveling. Fun fact, one time I forgot to bring Bjarne's bag to the airport. There's just a lot of things to think about. If you have a trip coming up, you can prepare today with Saily. Saily is an eSIM service, electronic SIM. You don't need
another
to enter
ad?
and put in a new SIM card. You don't need to rent a Wi-Fi. That's for all.
Well, I mean, that's crazy. It works on your phone. So does that mean like I can put this on my phone? Let me see this. It's called Odysseus, right? Odysseus. How do I find this? Where is it?
I'm
PewDiePie, where is
releasing it because I want you to help me keep building it. The war on big tech has just begun. We will no longer be abused. This project will never cost any money. That's my return, okay? But you have to make meaningful changes, not just comma doctors, okay?
Okay, so is it ported to Windows? Or no? Read me? Let me see, read me. Read me. a manual install. Interesting. Wow, I might try this on my own, honestly. And then this could be like a really good video. This could be a really good video to test out and try out, honestly. I'm gonna I'm gonna give this a shot. Hey, if you guys want me to test out Odysseus on stream or in a video, I mean I could probably do both. I really don't care. Let me know, okay? I will try this out on stream. I will explore as many of the features as possible, and I will answer every question that you want. Keep an eye out for any posts on my channel, on my YouTube channel, okay? I will announce when I will be doing Odysseus stuff, okay? So just keep an eye out. But I'm gonna keep streaming, I'm gonna keep doing content, and I'm gonna keep uploading. So please, please keep an eye out. I don't have a streaming schedule just yet, so just let me know what times would work best for you. Again, your best bet, check the posts on my YouTube channel. That's where I'm going to be posting all of my stuff, all of the stuff that I want people to know. I'm going to try to do more Twitter and YouTube content, like more Twitter and more posty stuff, right? But, you know, I'm just, right now I'm incrementing different things to my channel as time goes on. Because it's a marathon, not a race. So over time, things will improve, and over time, I'll do more and more things. But I think that's really good. I think that's a really good idea. I should write that down. Let me take a moment to write this idea down. But let's go ahead and play our music. Let's play our music, and let's get this situated. So right here, we've got... let's add item here. Where is it? Is it notes? Research? No, it was in ideas, wasn't it? I thought it was in ideas. Didn't I have a bunch of ideas? Oh, I accidentally threw away all of my ideas. There we go. So let's do a new text and try out Odysseus on stream. PewDiePie released a new AI. Check it out. All right. I mean, I'm probably gonna do it anyways, but just let me know in the comments if there's something that you really want to watch. So now let's go ahead and move on to the next thing that I found. So guys, I like playing Overwatch, okay? I do. It's a fun game. I like playing most FPSs actually. I enjoy playing Overwatch, I enjoy playing Valorant, I enjoy playing Apex Legends, I enjoy playing FPS games in general. There's just some FPS games that I won't play, like Fortnite, right? So during my journey, right, I found this beautiful tier list. So apparently, this tier list is Overwatch heroes ranked on how fun they would be to smoke with. Now, I dabble myself. Obviously, I wouldn't be the way I am if I didn't dabble, right? But I'm taking a break right now because I'm leaving it for a celebration that's going to be coming up soon. So, Dream Blunt Rotation, Genji, Zenyatta, Sombra, Ramatra, and Lifeweaver. I agree with all of these except Lifeweaver, and Sombra. Now, it's not that I disagree with them, but I feel like, one, there could be better alternatives, and two, I feel like... I feel like, I don't know the lore enough to really understand why you would want these in a Dream Blunt rotation, right? So, right now, if I were to choose somebody to have on a Blunt rotation with me, I would choose, as a Dream Blunt rotation, I would choose Echo, I would choose Orisa, I would choose Um, Genji, yeah. Genji, Zenyatta, Ana, and Ramatra. Let me check out the others in the roster. I think I won't get any interesting conversations. Except for maybe... except for maybe either Mizuki or Freya. Aside from everybody else, I think those are the only characters on the cast that I feel like would sufficiently entertain me in a blunt rotation. A good choice, Bastion. I think Bastion is always fun to have around, even though he can't get high, you know? Lucio? Oh yeah, Lucio would be amazing as a drum, like a really good choice. Diva, yeah, she could be fun. Cassidy, yeah, Cassidy would just want to chill. Zarya would be good. Doomfist, Doomfist being a good choice for the blunt rotation? I don't know, man. Would I really want to hang out with Doomfist on a blunt rotation? This guy's in Talon. Is anybody else in Talon? Ramatra? Ramatra isn't in Talon, but he is very anti-human. You know what? Yeah, if I can accept Ramatra, I can accept Doomfist. I would be careful with that one, to be honest. Brigitte and Baptiste, yeah, those would be good. Lifeweaver would be good, since I didn't put him in Dream Blunt rotation. I would change him there. Kiriko, yeah, Kiriko would be nice. I feel like most of the roster would be nice to have on a blunt rotation, to be honest. Like a good choice. So I don't know about Hazard or Venture, to be honest with you. I don't think they would be too much fun, to be honest. Wrecking Ball would probably be fun. Cat would be fun. Sierra would be fun. Onron would be fun. Diva would be fun. Cassidy would be fun. Zarya would be fun. All of these characters would be fun. You know, almost everybody except for Hazard and Venture on that list, on that section of the list would be good. Needs a sitter? Like a babysitter? I feel like that would be Juno. I feel like Juno would need a babysitter, not being the sitter. I feel like Juno would be way too nervous and squeamy, you know? Squeamish about it. Alari having a sitter? Maybe. Maybe. Winston having a sitter? Maybe. Yeah. Tracer having a sitter? I don't think so. I think Tracer would be in the good choice category, not really a sitter, like needing a sitter. I think, yeah, I think that should be it for sitters. May, yeah, May, I agree, would need a sitter. Juno would need a sitter, and I think Domina would need a sitter as well. Is the sitter? I feel like Ana would be the sitter. Mercy being the sitter makes sense. Torbjorn being the sitter, yeah, I would put Torbjorn as the sitter, but I would also put him in the good choice. I feel like Torbjorn would be a really cool guy to just hang out with. Sojourn would be a good sitter. Echo would be a phenomenal sitter, actually. If I could choose Echo to be my sitter, I would. And Orissa's good for that. Chronic Blunt Hogger. I feel like, yeah, Reinhardt would be Chronic. You know Roadhog would be Chronic. Hamster would be Chronic. Ash? I guess, yeah. Ash would Ash would hog. Like Roadhog. Junker Queen, yeah. Maga, yes. Freya, I don't agree with how she would be a blunt hogger, but, you know, I don't know her lore, I don't know her personality, maybe she would be. But I would put her in a good choice category, or the dream blunt rotation, because Freya in her lore has went through a lot of pain and suffering, so I feel like it would be interesting to talk about it with her, because she's given, in a voice line, Ramatra says something, talking about how she was being hypocritical. And Freya said, I don't know. To be able to say I don't know shows a level of perspective and awareness that I think is missing in a lot of people, especially in the roster. So I feel like Freya would be a very interesting person to talk to, because she's willing to think for herself and say, I don't know. I feel like she would be more open to different perspectives because of that. Vendetta, chronic blunt hogger. Yeah, I could see Vendetta being chronic. Ruins the vibe by getting so high they get scared. Okay, I don't think Hanzo would do that. Mizuki wouldn't do that. Emre might do that. Sigma would definitely do that. Juno would definitely do that. But the other three, Emre, Mizuki, Hanzo, I don't think that they would ruin the vibe by getting scared. I think that's very... Like, we're talking about two Japanese monk wannabes, okay? Because Hanzo still has like a fight that he's going through, but he's very trained in like mental clarity and mental patience and discipline. He's very trained in that. So I don't think a blunt is gonna get him scared. I think he's just gonna say, yeah, this is the blunt talking, but I'm good. Like I think we're really underestimating how mentally capable these characters are. Do not fucking invite them. Junkrat, Pharah, Soldier, Reaper, Symmetra, Widowmaker, Moira, and Domina. I think Domina would ruin the vibe by getting so high that they get scared. I feel like Domina wouldn't know what to do, and then they would just enter a coughing fit as soon as they inhale the smoke, right? I feel like Domina would be a poser, and like a cool kid wannabe. Moira, I feel like Moira would just ruin the mood. Moira is too fixated on her own ideals and her own stuff. I think Moira would like stab me in the back if I got too high around her. Widowmaker would be interesting, but I don't think it would be a good idea just because it's Widowmaker. Symmetra, I don't know Symmetra's lore. I don't know Symmetra's lore. I really don't think not inviting them is what you should do, but who knows, maybe there's a reason why they say not to invite them. I'd be okay with Symmetra. Symmetra hasn't given me any reason not to invite them. Reaper, I think Reaper could be good. It really depends. Like, Reaper and Moira have the same iffiness with me as Vendetta and Doomfist. Like, you're inviting people from Talon. Like, these are people that are obviously like interested in their own intentions or their own evil intentions. It's either anti-hero or evil, and those are the type of people you're dealing with. So it's really difficult to see myself smoking a blunt with them. but yeah, Pharah, I don't know Pharah's lore, so I wouldn't know, but I'd be okay with them simply just from playing them and seeing how they are in the game. Maybe in their lore there's different, but I wouldn't see any problem with that. I feel like Soldier would be very anti-marijuana. Reaper would just be a bad idea. And Junkrat is just Junkrat. Like, if you know this character, you know Junkrat is just not somebody to be smoking a blunt with. Like, he's the opposite of chill. He's the exact opposite of chill. He's funny, don't get me wrong, but I don't think a blunt is gonna help that guy. I really don't. Oh my god. But yeah, that's the tier list for Overwatch characters. That's the tier list. Let's see, what's the second thing that we got going on here? Let's see. What's the second thing we got going on here? Let me see here. Let's see. Modern love is pure transaction. Do I want to react to this? There's a lot of things that I want to react to, but I think reacting to one specific video is a lot better than the rest. I feel like this would be a good ender to where I can play games afterwards. Let's go ahead and react to this.
Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you've probably...
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna be reacting to a 48-minute video, guys. Good luck. But I need to look at some of my DMs real quick. Oh, whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Sorry guys, I'm getting distracted. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, hold on. So sorry. Okay. Here I am. Let's react to this video. I don't even know what I was trying to do or say. Let's just react to this video. The best philosophy to live by Chupam you know, in Spanish, Chupam I don't know if he really meant it this way, but chupa means suck in Spanish. And you know what balls means. So it just, like Chupam balls sounds like suck balls. I think Bruce Lee. Oh wait. That's a very important comment that I don't want to show you just yet. Okay, let's pause this music because he plays his own music in the middle of all this. So let's react.
Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you've probably noticed that I have a pretty strong interest in philosophy. I talk about Albert Camus, Carl Jung, Seneca, Kierkegaard, etc, etc. And I've been receiving a common question throughout my videos and my lives, also in my DMs, which is basically the following. What's the best philosophy to live by?
When I was watching this video, okay, I already watched the whole thing, but I think it's really important for me to discuss in today's age because it provides a lot of substance to a very core thing, a very core belief that I feel like everybody on this planet should adhere to. I feel like this is like, he talks about it at the end of the video, which is why I'm even engaging in this video to begin with, despite having watched it already. So, right now, when I was watching that video, he said, a lot of people ask him, what's the best philosophy to live by? He has his own answer. Here's my answer. The best philosophy to live by is the one you develop for yourself. That's the best philosophy. You take everything that you see that is useful, you discard what isn't useful, and then you make it your own. You add your own. This goes for even yourself and your own philosophy. So this is an axiom that should be very much hardwired into you. Take what is useful, discard what isn't, and add your own. Not only that, but also nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is set in stone. That means even taking what's useful, discarding what isn't, and adding your own is also an axiom that you should be able and capable of changing. Meaning that everything that you learn, everything you take in, even the words that I'm saying right now, can be changed. It's like having a constitution internally, right? Taking what's useful, discarding what isn't, and adding your own is on that constitution. But the Supreme Court, that being me, the Supreme Court, is able to change it whenever I want, or interpret it however I want. So that's how I see philosophy. It's you gathering a bunch of stuff for your constitution to work off of. Now, this is a very American analogy, right? But I feel like it's the best way to fully encompass my audience. Like it's the best way to explain it to a certain audience. And also, if the audience doesn't know about the US, they can just Google it and immediately understand what I'm trying to say. Basically, it doesn't matter what it is, who you are, what you think, how you feel, all of it is capable of changing because you have no limits as a person. Because you have no limits and everything is capable of changing, that means you have the most open-minded and free perspective on flexibility, adaptability, efficiency, rigidity, whatever it may be. You are as open as you possibly can be. That's the point. You want to treat everything not as a cemented or rigid thing. As soon as you start doing that, you set yourself up for a belief that you set yourself up for broken expectations.
Now, let me answer you immediately so I can spare you another hour of me yapping. So the answer is this. There isn't one.
I agree. There isn't one because it hasn't been named yet. The best philosophy to live by is the philosophy that you develop for yourself. I feel like that is the best philosophy to live by. Everybody wants to talk about masculinity. Everybody wants to talk about stoicism. I think you should make your own philosophy, make your own stoicism, make your own Christianity, make your own masculinity. I feel like that is the highest form of what Nietzsche wanted for everybody. Nietzsche wanted you to take what's useful, discard what isn't, and add your own, meaning that the best philosophy to live by is the one that you live by. It's the one that you think matters. It's the one that you repeatedly test and change and test and change and evolve again and again and again over time, making it better for you and others in your life. Whatever philosophy works for you is the best philosophy in your life. It's the one that actually gets things done. It's the one that actually makes you and other people happy. That's the best philosophy to live by. And you have a mound and a wealth and a huge rich deposit of information that is the internet that allows you to get to this specific point, to get to the point where you can say, yeah, I have my own internal architecture developed, I have my own identity, I have my own philosophy, and I am willing to test it in this world in whatever way possible.
And the fact that that answer probably frustrated you a little bit, that reaction right there is exactly what this video is about. As some of you may also have noticed it, is that I do lean heavily into absurdism. I'll tell you that up front and I'll tell you why later. However, I do not follow one philosophy exclusively.
And this is the part that loses a lot of people, because people attach so much to buzzwords and like words that eventually become buzzwords. Like I don't know what is it about the human mind's obsession with buzzwords. I guess it's just a way to extract information as fast as possible. But the thing is, like, we live lives that are way too efficient, to the point where even inefficiency has become a method of like inconvenience, and inefficiency has become one of the greatest deterrents of a human in today's society. The thing is like, you need to develop these things for yourself, right?
Why later? However, I do not follow one philosophy exclusively.
I think the best philosophy is the one you create yourself based off of what you observed has worked in others. Because philosophies are meant to be individualistic. That's the problem. The philosophies that I live by may brush upon Miyamoto Musashi. My philosophies may brush upon Greek philosophy, Asian philosophy, whatever it may be. All of what I learned and all of what I work towards is simply just for me. Meaning that I don't have to fully identify with Stoicism. I can just interpret Stoicism in a way that helps me.
I never have. And what I want to do is explain why. I want to explain what I found inside each major tradition that's actually worth keeping.
Yes.
What each one costs you if you follow it without ever questioning it.
Yes.
And what I've actually built from years of refusing to hand myself over entirely to any single system.
This is what's important right here. And what I've actually built from years of refusing to hand myself over entirely to any single system. The problem is that people work backwards way too much. It's always system and ideology and morality and ethics first, and then your identity second. The problem is that when you separate both, and you don't allow one to come before the other, something interesting happens, where you're learning how to construct your identity, but you're also learning what a identity should look like. So, like, it's the combination of psychology and philosophy, right? My internal identity is very creative. It likes chaos, but it also likes order, and it likes contradictions, it likes paradoxes, it likes things that are very harmonizing in the most interesting way possible. Two opposites working in unison. Why? Because I've made it that way. I believe in yin yang, but I don't fully believe in it to the point where it's only yin yang. I mean, look at my video, right? So I made a video about men. There's going to be a video about women, and then there's going to be a video on putting them both together and my thoughts on both together as much as possible. Just harmonizing them both as much as possible. That's three things, not two coming into unison. That's three things coming into unison, right? So obviously, I don't believe in this whole yin-yang thing completely, otherwise I would be making two videos. And, you know, I believe in it, but it's not my entire complete identity to the point where it is affecting my entire life. So the thing is like, you use these things intentionally, not religiously. So if I believe in Christianity, I'm not going to put Christianity in every single aspect of my life, despite Christians wanting me to do that. And just because I am like, okay, let's say I engage in politics, right? That politics becomes my new religion, meaning that I have to fully agree with the ideology, and anything against the ideology or anything that doesn't sound like the ideology should be shunned away from my life. I think that's very close-minded. I think a lot of the times people get close-minded because they allow their identity to be compromised by their ideologies. They allow their identities to be compromised by their theology and their ideology. Because when you say that, when you are not particularly aligned with what they're saying or what they're thinking, they treat it as a personal attack, a personal threat. And this is something that I am seeing an alarming rate of in today's society, in today's age.
Actually built from years of refusing to hand myself over entirely to any single system. And I also want to be honest about something most people who love philosophy never admit, including me for a long time.
Okay.
Understanding something and actually being changed by it are not the same thing.
Yes, you have a lot of internal momentum and you feel like things are changing, but your external world isn't exactly changing. Or it could be reversed. Maybe your external environment is changing so much, but your internal world, it looks the same or it doesn't look the way you want it to look.
That gap between the two is where most of this video lives. This is not a lecture. I'm not here to tell you how to think, what to believe, which tradition to follow. The things I say exist to make you think, not to tell you what to think.
Yes.
I mean that, and I'll keep meaning it for the entire length of this video. What this is me explaining out loud what I actually do and why.
Why?
Every philosophy I talk about, including the ones I love most, has a shadow side, including mine.
Of course. I mean, it's a way of thinking. The human mind is meant to corrupt itself. And I don't think it's meant to do that, but I think the human mind likes doing that. I'm not sure, like, there's a part of your brain that is like self-doubt and fear and all of that stuff. It's the inner voice. It's the inner voice that kind of comes from the dark, right? Dark thoughts. And you know where thoughts come from. You know that a good thought that looks good on the surface can be rooted in fear, desperation, or anxiety, right? You know that it may feel good to think about it, but where it comes from is from a dark place. And I'd advise you to really judge and inspect where your thoughts are coming from, because you can surprise yourself when you start being more aware, when you start journaling your thoughts, when you start evaluating what you're thinking and self-analyzing. That introspection is very important, right? So, like,
including the ones I love most, has a shadow.
So yeah, sorry, I just need to jog my memory because I get lost when I start talking. So his shadow side, like the shadow sides, there's pros and cons to everything, and this includes philosophy. Unfortunately, in my experience, philosophy and psychology can become Ouroboros because the human mind is very polarizing and difficult to understand. So when it comes to why I believe philosophy and psychology can end up being Ouroboros, it's a system that eats itself. It is constantly thinking about thinking, but never getting any action done. So we can sit here and talk about philosophy this, tradition that, ritual this, religion that. We can talk about it all day, but at the end of the day, we know nothing. It doesn't matter if there isn't proof of existence of God, there is no proof of his inexistence either. Because all we're doing is just trying to understand a cosmos and a world that we don't really understand. Every time we find new information, every time we concretize a theory, every time we fully treat something as a fact, what are we left with? More questions, more tests, more analyses. And I'm pretty sure most of the science that we're learning today, whether it be from actual scientists, like from space scientists, not actual science, sorry, like from space scientists, cosmologists, psychologists, philosophists, whatever it may be, right? Whatever one of the sciences you want to engage with, mathematicians, whatever it may be, it gets to a point where, there's only so much that we can guarantee that we know. And we don't know if God exists or not. It's not like maybe there's signs, right? But those signs are to be interpreted by the mind that is witnessing them. Other people may not see the signs of an existence of God because they don't inherently believe it. Or maybe you're fabricating signs because you do believe it, and there's signs that aren't even there. And you're noticing signs that aren't even there. Just as somebody might notice signs that are there. Or somebody might ignore signs that are there. So it's gotten to the point where people get too caught up in, I know this for a fact. When, sometimes you spend so much time overthinking when you shouldn't be overthinking that much. And sometimes things can eat itself, contradict itself, and become paradoxical. It's limitless potential without a real barrier or rules or something structured.
Shadow side, including mine. And you deserve to know both. There's a lot of people I want to describe before we get into anything else. Some people found something, a philosophy, a religion, a political ideology, a psychological school, and it gave them genuine relief. The kind you feel when you've been carrying something heavy for a long time and someone finally shows you where to put it down. And that relief became identity. And that identity became armor. And over time, the armor became so permanent, so thoroughly incorporated into how they moved through the world, that they forgot it was armor at all. They thought it was them. You've met this person. You might be this person at different points in your life. I've absolutely been this person. The stoic who treats acceptance as an all-purpose answer without ever asking what deserves to be accepted. The existentialist who has read Sartre so thoroughly that you are your choices has become a reason to feel superior to everyone who hasn't figured that out yet. The person who discovered Jung at 23 and has been describing their shadow to anyone willing to listen ever since, while somehow never actually changing jack shit.
Yeah.
The Buddhist who has made non-attachment into an attachment.
I'm guilty of that one.
The absurdist for whom it's all meaningless anyway has quietly become not a philosophy of revolt but a permission slip for not trying.
Yeah.
Now, what all of them share, besides their beliefs, is the decision underneath the beliefs, conscious or not, to stop. To close the file and say, I figured this part out. It belongs to me now, and if you challenge it, you're challenging
me. Yeah.
And listen, I genuinely understand why. I mean, the world is overwhelming. It has questions that are enormous, and most of us are already exhausted before we even start asking them. So, finding a framework that makes the chaos legible is just purely survival. The problem isn't finding something to hold on to. The problem is when the thing you're holding starts holding you back, and you can't tell the difference anymore because you've been gripping it for so long, your hands have forgotten what open feels like.
You see something freeing and relieving, and you hold on to that because it has now become a part of your identity. You've chosen to identify with what is so relieving that, again, like you said, it becomes your armor. So anything that challenges you, you are resorting to using that armor to shield yourself from what it's protecting. But the problem is that you don't have to be doing that. You don't. It doesn't have to be that way.
That's the antagonist in all of this. It's not philosophy, it's not religion, not psychology or politics, rigidity.
Yes.
The point where a living relationship with truth hardens into a monument you defend instead of a question you keep asking.
Yes.
And before anyone says, isn't this just relativism? Isn't picking and choosing from everything just taking whatever is comfortable and calling it wisdom? Nope.
No.
There's a meaningful difference between choosing what's comfortable and keeping what survives genuine pressure.
Yes.
What holds up when your life actually tests it.
Yes, absolutely. I have tested myself and my principles and the way I act and interact with people almost every day of my life after I started making a meaningful change in my life. I have failed and failed and failed and failed, and I can say this 29 more times just to intensify and reinforce how much I failed. I'm still going to fail, and I'm going to fail every day, but every day there's less and less failures. Every day I fail more, but I also succeed more. And it's really come to a point where I'm failing so much to the point where I just let her rip. Keep failing. Keep failing. Keep failing. I don't know why. It's just become this way. So, I mean, I think...
Genuine pressure.
I think testing what you believe under genuine pressure is very important, because you get to see what actually survives when it's tested and put under pressure, instead of just defending something that may not even work for you at all. It's a lot better that way.
What holds up when your life actually tests it. Comfort and truth are not the same standards, and I've never been interested in comfort.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what works when things get tough.
Yeah.
That's the only criteria I've ever applied to any of this.
Mm-hmm. So he's going to talk about the different philosophies here. Since I've already watched the video, and since I think this is a video you should watch for yourself, I don't want to really siphon his content. I'm going to skip to the part, because this was uploaded 2 weeks ago. I still want him to get his just desserts, so I'm just going to do this. We're only going to go out over the stoicism part. We're going to go stoicism, and we're going to go absurdism, because that's the one he really likes. And then we're going to look at the bridge, the philosophy versus psychology, and what survived. So we're going to go through one or two of the philosophies, and then the rest will be just himself.
Let's start off with Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. Stoicism, as I discussed in my previous video, is probably the most misrepresented philosophy in the modern world. And the misrepresentation goes in a specific direction that I want to correct before anything else, because conflating real Stoicism with what the internet calls Stoicism does genuine damage to one of the most sophisticated emotional frameworks ever built.
Sophisticated is the key word here. I would advise you to really understand what sophisticated means.
Now, there's a version of Stoicism that lives all over
social media. Yeah.
The cold, unaffected, emotionless man who has transcended feeling anything. That's basically Broicism with a philosophy degree.
Yeah. Broicism with a philosophy degree is the best way to put this garbage that social media likes to put out nowadays.
And the two have almost nothing to do with each other.
They don't.
The real Stoics distinguished between pathe, destructive passions that arise from false judgments about reality, and eupatheia, healthy emotional responses grounded in correct understanding. Stoicism has nothing to do with feeling nothing. It was about feeling accurately. What real Stoicism gives you: the distinction between what is in your control and what isn't.
Yes.
Your judgments and your responses those are yours.
Yes, those are yours. Those are the only consequences you have to deal with. Those are the only emotional responses that you need to control and regulate. Everything that is you within your control is yours to keep, meaning that's what you're responsible over. So if you make a bad action, you're responsible for the emotions that you feel over it. If somebody else is being mean to you, you're not responsible for the emotions that you get when they're being mean to you, because you're making their meanness your responsibility. So what if they're mean to you? That's not your action, that's theirs. They have to deal with the guilt from being mean, not you. You don't have to be angry or sad from them being mean. They're just, I don't know, whatever reason they have for being mean is theirs alone.
Everything else, other people's shitty behavior, outcomes, those are not. And most human suffering comes from treating the second category as if it belongs in the first.
Yes, exactly. Like the root of all suffering is attachment. And he'll touch upon this, right? Because attachment isn't exactly the right word that we're supposed to be using here, but somebody is attached, meaning that, you know, like let's say somebody's overly attached and they're trying to project their over attachment onto you. Meaning, why are you laughing? Or like, why did you do this? Or they're angry at you for whatever reason it may be, and it's not even your fault, right? Like, what are yours is yours to keep. This person that is obviously in distress is not interested in you correcting the behavior. They're only interested in letting their frustration out on you. You don't have to be responsible for that. You don't have to feel anything for that. You can simply just react and not allow your peace to be broken by somebody who's allowed their peace to be broken. Just deal with it in whatever way you see fit, because whatever actions you take after that are yours.
Epictetus built this framework while enslaved.
Yes.
Marcus Aurelius applied it while running an empire that was, well, actively falling apart.
Yes. A lot of the times when people develop these philosophies, it's for a reason. Stoicism, not allowing your emotions or everything to control you and trying to understand what's outside of your control. Of course this is going to come from a slave. Of course. Because the thing is that the human mind will find ways to overcome, including the way it thinks. So when you're a slave or when you're in an empire where everything is actively falling apart, of course, the philosophies and the things you teach are going to be about how to handle that. Because that's the experience, that's the way of thinking that has survived through those types of tests. And it is very valuable knowledge because it's full of substance, it's well thought out, and it has been tested under pressure.
Seneca used it while navigating one of the most political dangerous courts in Roman history. So, look, these weren't armchair philosophers. These were people using ideas as survival tools under conditions that would break most of us.
Yes.
And they wept, they loved, because that's what the actual practice looks like.
Yes, it's not about destroying emotions to begin with. Like if you get rid of sadness, anger, you know, if you get rid of one emotion, you get rid of all of your emotions because your emotions are interconnected. It's how it is. So you can't get rid of one emotion without fully getting rid of all of your emotions. That's not how that works. And two, like that was one, here's two, right? Two, I lost my train of thought again.
And they wept.
Yeah. They wept, they loved. So they still felt their feelings. They just allowed themselves to not be captured in their feelings, captured in all the noise. Like when you have a water and a river flow, right? A surge of happiness is a beautiful wave to surf. A surge of sadness is a very difficult wave to manage. But the problem is that you're trying to control the wave. Instead, observe the wave and choose what actions are yours and what actions are the emotions. You need to engage with emotions that are good for you, and you need to engage in with what is actually reality, as opposed to letting your thinking and your objectivity be compromised by your emotions. Emotions that are measured and nuanced and are kept in check by what's objective, true, and real is one of the best ways that you can bridge the gap between emotional intelligence and just flat out emotion without intelligence. It's how you do it. It's how you get emotional intelligence. It's how you understand that not everything is as simple as it may seem.
Loved because that's what the actual practice looks like. The danger of only following Stoicism. A person who takes the real philosophy too far can become so committed to focusing on their interior world, so practiced at accepting what they cannot control, that acceptance becomes indistinguishable from passivity.
Yes.
They're psychologically stable and completely inert in the face of things that should be fought. They've made peace with things that don't deserve peace, and they've dressed it up in the language of virtue.
Yes.
That's the real shadow. Not emotional suppression, but the quietism that can grow inside genuine acceptance if you stop asking which things actually deserve it.
Yeah. It's a very good shadow side to talk about. So let's go into absurdism, because this is something that's really important to him. It's dear to him. He leans into absurdism quite a bit. But I do believe that his take on Stoicism was very, very good. I do like how he's expertly, surgically pointing out the common mistake that people make when it comes to their philosophy search. But because I feel like philosophy has become philosophy has become a medication that's meant to sedate rather than to cure. So people are seeking it out for sedation rather than understanding that, hey, you don't have to fully identify with this philosophy. You can just take what works, discard what doesn't, and add your own. The thing is like they want philosophy to act as an answer for all their problems, but the answer to all your problems is yourself. That's the answer to all your problems. You are. Figure out what that means.
Absurdism. Albert Camus and the man who lived the thesis. Absurdism is the philosophy I lean most heavily. So I want to be more careful here than anywhere else on this list, because the things you love are exactly the things you need to examine most honestly.
Yes.
Let's start off by saying what absurdism gives you. Permission to keep going without a guarantee. The absurd is the collision between your need for meaning and the universe's complete silence on the matter. You ask for answers, for some cosmic confirmation that any of this is worth it, and reality says nothing back. Nihilism responds to that silence by collapsing. Absurdism says revolt, show up anyway, create meaning knowing it's temporary and unguaranteed. Keep building knowing nothing lasts, not because that's rational, but because the alternative is a kind of surrender that doesn't actually solve shit.
Yes.
One must imagine Sisyphus happy. That's Camus.
Yes.
And to me, it's one of the most psychologically resilient statements in the history of philosophy. It doesn't promise the boulder gets lighter. It says the act of pushing matters regardless of the outcome. And to me, that's the only honest form of courage I've ever found a convincing argument for.
Yeah.
Now, there's a man who took everything absurdism understood about suffering and tested it in conditions no philosophical framework was designed to survive. Viktor Frankl. He didn't develop his ideas in a library or a lecture hall. He developed them in Auschwitz, watching which people held on and which ones didn't. And what he found was that the people who lasted longest weren't necessarily the physically strongest. They were the ones who had something to live for.
Something overarching in their lives to work towards. They saw, but the thing is, like, this is hope coming from identity, right? I'm doing this for something beyond myself. The thing is that this can set you up in a really bad trap, where you start valuing the fruit over the flower. So this in itself can become a very big danger, right? So when you're valuing the fruit over the flower, right? I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this because it's who I am. You you do it for the right reason, but you have to be careful not to let that reason corrupt you. Because it comes to a point where every time you take an action, it's accompanied by a bunch of stones weighing it down. I'm doing this for my family is another stone. I'm doing this for my oh, hello, Celestia. Hi. Thank you for the follow. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my job. I'm doing this because it's the type of person I am. You keep adding more and more. Hello. You keep adding more and more stones to your life. And I think one of the biggest problems there is that you can't put so much pressure on yourself when you're taking an action. The reason why it worked in this specific point, right, is I think a good comparison would be me and my content creation, creativity, my motivation. I do it because I like it. I do it because it feels good. I do it because it like this hard work means nothing to me compared to the satisfaction I get from doing the action itself. Did you miss something? No, I'm just doing YouTube and clips and all that. Like I'm streaming, but I'm going to turn my streams into videos and stuff like that. So that's why I'm carrying on with the conversation. Right now I'm reacting to a video called The Best Philosophy to Live by Chupam Balls. So you need to be careful with absurdism because yes, you can find a meta goal that triumphs over everything, but you need to be careful not to get lost in that meta goal because you'll be too focused on what's in your head rather than being present in your actual life. No, I mean, it's kind of serious, but it's a discussion, it's a conversation. That's really it. So, but right now I'm discussing how absurdism talks about how reality has silence over your want for answers, your purpose in life, what you do in your life. The universe is silent and indifferent to your experience of your life. And a lot of people can get caught up in that silence, seeking for answers. A lot of the time they turn towards religion or philosophy, right? And I'm just talking about how there's pros and cons to everything, including philosophy. So, you know, it's very nice to have something higher than yourself to work towards, but it can be just as shackling as it is freeing.
A reason that made the suffering answerable to something larger than itself. Where Camus says keep going, Frankel asks keep going towards what? Meaning isn't waiting to be discovered. It's created through what you build, who you love, and how you choose to face suffering when you can't avoid it. The attitude you take toward inevitable pain is itself a form of freedom that nothing external can take from you. Please do not consider this an inspirational poster. This is a thesis tested in the worst laboratory in human history by a man who lost almost everyone. However, the danger of only following absurdism, which is something I personally struggled with a lot and in many ways still do, is that it can slide into elegant detachment. It's all absurd anyway, is one short step from not caring about anything.
Yeah.
And believe me, that step is easier to take than you think. Especially in dark periods where detachment feels like wisdom but is actually just numbness in a turtleneck.
Numbness in a turtleneck. It's such a funny thing to hear him put it that way. Numbness in a turtleneck. Like numbness is characterized as something that's trying to be low key and hidden. I think that's just a really whimsical way of looking at it. But you know, it's very true. I've had moments where I've been overly detached to the point where somebody else's attachment felt like over attachment to me. But I feel like I am leaning sometimes heavily into an elegant detachment because elegant is the key part here. Elegant, because you still care to a certain extent, but it's so detached to where it's still influencing your thinking and may not be as efficient as it should be.
The revolt has to be directed at something specific in your actual life.
My version of what a revolt would be is the act of content creation. Life is silent to what my purpose is. So, my purpose that I've decided for it to be is content creation. And I rebel and revolt against this life, or the silence that life gives me, by continuing to create. Nobody tells me to do this, but this is what I like doing, so I'm going to keep doing it. I mean, I feel like that's a very healthy way of living, in my opinion. I think it's a very healthy way of coping with the baseline. If you believe that there's no meaning to life or purpose at all, I think this is a very healthy way of engaging with life, despite uh, the the fickle meaning that it has. It could be either very meaningful for you, or at a baseline it could be very meaningless. It depends on what you think and feel. Personally, I am derivative of nihilism, whatever it may be, right? I kind of believe that life inherently has no meaning or value, but just because a piece of paper, or an easel, right? Something that you paint on, right? Just because something is empty doesn't mean it doesn't have value. A piece of paper or a painting can be millions of dollars. It just depends on what it has on it. Like the Mona Lisa, it's a beautiful painting, and it's worth millions or billions of dollars, depending on who you ask, right? So if something inherently meaningless can turn into something so valuable and meaningful, then what does that say? That says humans are the ones who decide what is meaningful and what is valuable. If I think my life is meaningless, then that's what it's going to be. But I think my life is very meaningful because of the work that I do right now. I say work in quotations because I know how some people may feel about content creation. But look, life if you are derivative of nihilism and you believe life has no value, then you are in a position where you can create your own value. There's always a way, and I've made that way for myself. Life has value for me because I choose for it to be that way.
Or it becomes a posture, something you perform rather than practice.
That's also something very, very interesting, because when you identify with something and when you capture it, this is why I say philosophy is very Ouroboros, because while yes, you may fully identify with the philosophy, you may not fully engage with it or actualize it or integrate it in a way that it's supposed to be, right? So let's say I agree with everything that has to do with stoicism, but if I'm constantly lamenting about things that I can't control, then am I really really embodying stoicism? And that's not to say that I can't let myself feel things, right? And sometimes my emotions will overtake me. That doesn't mean I've broken my pact with stoicism. It's just we need to separate the ideology and the philosophy from the individual. I am not what I believe I should be. I think that's a very important distinction to make, because it's very freeing. It allows you to make mistakes, but it also lets you try to work harder for something better.
The person who's gone too far into only absurdism can quote Camus beautifully and be completely unavailable to the people who love them. And also the danger of Frankel misapplied, your suffering has meaning, becomes one of the cruelest things you can say to a person when it's handed to them from the outside as an explanation for which what happened to them was somehow necessary.
This is something that I struggle with a lot, because I struggle to think whether I'm narcissistic or not, because I believe that my friends and family will be able to handle their problems and their situations the way they see fit. But a lot of the times, one, I'm detached from their suffering, and two, I want to say something, but I'm trapped up in a bunch of stuff myself. And it's not that I can't do it. I absolutely can extend myself, but, is it really worth extending myself? I feel like I would be bringing myself down for somebody else, and I'm willing to do that, but only if I'm able to do that. At the time, I've made the decision and the discernment that I couldn't. But could I not really? This is the struggle that I have, right? Because when somebody else is suffering, I do kind of want to say, hey, you're suffering, but the suffering that you're going through changes who you are, or you rise above it based on what it is, right? It's a test. It's the process that you're going through. And it can be very dehumanizing, devaluing, or unfulfilling, or demoralizing when somebody tells you your suffering has meaning, or oh, it's just life testing you. You know, it can feel that way, like coming from an external perspective. So it's just really difficult for me to understand how I'm supposed to navigate that kind of situation, because I am dealing with my problems mentally in my own way, but I see somebody else not dealing with their problems in my way, and they're kind of stuck. And I feel like my way could fix that, but my way is very dehumanizing. It's not really an answer that you want to hear when you're in such a low point. Telling somebody the root of all suffering is attachment is one of the most invalidating things to tell somebody when they're going through a rough time. So I stay silent, or I don't say anything at all. And even then, that's kind of a dick move, in my opinion. I'm not sure I really should be doing that, but I'm not sure what the alternative is either.
The framework is extraordinarily powerful when chosen freely. It becomes something else entirely when it's used to explain away someone else's pain.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. Very, very difficult to come to terms with something like that. And then there's also Buddhism. I think I kind of want to watch Buddhism. Let me see it.
Buddhism. Siddhartha Gautama.
Mm-hmm.
There's a translation problem at the center of how the West absorbed Buddhism, and it changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Attachment is suffering is a flattening of what the Buddha actually taught.
Yes.
The word he used was tanha, craving, thirst, the compulsive unconscious grasping for things you will believe will complete you, the clinging to pleasure because you're terrified of its absence, and the clinging to identity because without it, you don't know who you are.
That's another thing. So let's say I've completely adopted Christianity as my identity. Without Christianity, I don't know who I am. Can you explain to me why that's such a terrible and bad thing? Or what about politics? Whatever political ideology I believe in has become my identity, and it's become who I am. I'm sure now a lot of you can tell me what's wrong with that.
That specific quality of desperate unconscious reaching, that's what causes suffering. But alongside tanha, there's shanda, wholesome aspiration, intentional desire, which we can translate as the wanting that comes from clarity rather than fear. The desire to grow, to love well. That's not targeted by the teaching, that's encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
The distinction is not desire as such, but the quality of consciousness inside it. Whether you want something because it genuinely matters to you, or because something desperate inside you hasn't found a better strategy yet.
I think a lot of what it's trying to teach here is just trying to understand the intentions behind what you want. If I just want food because it tastes good and not because I'm hungry, I don't think I should be eating. That's a very basic example of what this philosophy teaches, Buddhism. You seek things out for their function and not for the surface level, the shallow, right? It's very difficult to describe because it's all lumped into a word called tanha, but we say desires or attachment. But tanha is very defined particularly. So what it's asking you is to separate your identity from the actions you take and the ideologies and theologies that you believe in. I am not Christianity. I'm not Buddhism. I'm not conservatism. I'm not liberalism. I'm none of these things. Now, what I am personally, like what I personally choose to engage in, what I believe in, that's my own. But I'm none of these things. So when I'm talking about like, let's say, hold on, sorry, I gotta jog my memory.
Or because
I'm such an airhead when I try to figure these things out. Something desperate and you hasn't found a better strategy yet. Right. So let's say there's something that I like doing to reward myself every time I do something, right? So let's say I get a video done, I want to give myself a piece of candy. Well, now every video that I've done has been for the sake of doing that piece of candy. And what if I just all of a sudden one day decide to give myself the reward without doing the work? Well, now I've just invalidated my entire reason for doing the work. And now I get less work done. You see how that functions? It's it's become more of a me just wanting candy rather than me rewarding myself for the work that I genuinely want to do. It's the intentions behind what you do that matter, rather than examining what's, the surface level, whether it be your actions or the thought itself. So right now, I'm saying I don't want this piece of candy right now because I would rather create a video to earn it. I think that is much more valid and much more authentic than just saying, "Oh, I just want this piece of candy," even though I haven't done the work. Because look at the thinking behind that. It's the difference between the you that wants to get a video done and reward yourself for it to reinforce that behavior, and it's the you that just wants a piece of candy because it feels good. So we need to observe the reasons why we do the things that we do, because we need to observe the quality of where these things that we do or think come from. I think it's a very sophisticated and quality person that decides to reward themselves for good actions or actions that they deem worthy. I think that's a quality person. A consciousness or a thought that isn't quality is grabbing a piece of candy just because it feels good. That is a feeding of desire that can override any conscious thinking. Being conscious and intentional is what we want to be here. Not doing things because they're on a whim, habit, or feeling. You want to be present and intentional with the world around you. And this includes with the way you feel, think, and act in life.
Something desperate inside you hasn't found a better strategy yet. So what Buddhism gives you is the ability to ask not just what you want, but what kind of wanting this is.
Yes.
Those are completely different questions with completely different answers.
Absolutely.
And learning to tell them apart changes how you move through almost everything.
I want to be a successful content creator, okay? And I want to do it because I've dreamed of it my entire life. And I want to do it because there's things that I want to say and I want to show people. And I want to entertain people too. I'm very social, but I'm also sometimes very antisocial at the same time. Content creation is the greatest bridge between that. It allows me to be social with everybody and nobody at the same time. It's quite interesting how I point that out because it very much relates to yin-yang philosophy, getting two opposites and harmonizing them. So that's what that looks like in my opinion, getting two, combining them together and harmonizing them into a very beautiful dance, a beautiful result. And that's what content creation is for me. It's a combination of being social and antisocial at the same time. So when I see I'm sorry, I genuinely have to jog my memory because there's multiple points that I come up with whenever I talk about something.
Part changes how you move through almost everything.
Right, the difference between wanting, the difference between why you want something and the quality testing of the wanting itself. So, I want to make content because that's how I feel. Now, what kind of wanting is harmonizing my social and antisocial behaviors? What kind of wanting is doing it for the dreams, right? I'm not doing content creation for the money. I'm not doing content. I mean, the money's nice, right? It's a good motivator. It is. But money is the reward. Money is the material attachment. Money comes from the desire of greed. If I do it only for the money, that means I'm doing it for the sake of greed. I'm doing it for the sake of material. I'm doing it for extravagance. It's not that this is bad. It's that having this as your only motivator can corrupt you. It can either make you less productive, it can make you less motivated, it can make you more greedy, it can make you hurt other people more, like want to more uncaring of the people you hurt simply to satisfy that greed. So when we're thinking about like content creation, I'm not thinking about the quality of my wanting for content creation is very pure. It's very authentic. It's not that it's a higher quality, it's that it's the type of quality that matters. And I feel like it's a campfire that I've carefully lit and constructed and I've tended to the point where it's a burning passion for my content creation. And now I move regardless of what it gives me, because this is who I am and this is what I like. And I know it's very contradictory when I say content creation is who I am, because it's very different from what this video is teaching me. And that's just a thought for myself, but at the same time, again, philosophy can end up being very self-eating, like Ouroboros, meaning that it becomes to the point where you're investigating just for the sake of investigation, and you're not really trying to look for anything in particular or do any actual change. So, I can explore that on my own time, but it's a very good tool to learn, like a Swiss Army knife, right? Just to have in your pocket. Just being able to observe the type of wanting that you have.
The danger of only following Buddhism, the Western popular version, which flattens Tanha into desire generally, can produce a kind of spiritual quietism where wanting anything becomes suspect. The person who's gone too far into this usually looks serene from the outside and is quietly checking out from the inside. They've turned non-attachment into non-engagement. A life that has systematically eliminated hunger isn't peace. It's something quieter and sadder than that. And calling it enlightenment doesn't change what it actually is.
I've had to go through that. A lot of the time, I felt like finding, because the thing is that I've researched a lot of Stoicism under the lens of Asian philosophy. So Buddhism is something that I had to observe. I didn't fully observe it, so I don't know all of the intricacies, right? But this detachment that it describes, I fell for that. I fell for the attachment and the desire, suffering, and everything, all that. But really, it was trying to talk about the type of attachments that you hold, the types of enlightenment that you're engaging with. Words are very important when it comes to philosophy, and how you articulate yourself and the types of definitions that you use are very important, because what somebody means and what they actually say is very different. So, this version of non-attachment, this detachment becoming non-engagement, I fell for that. It's come to a point where, like, well, right now I'm not experiencing that, but eventually it got to a point, at one point in my life, it got to a point where I couldn't just do things normally anymore. I was passively living life and only observing my entire world. But the problem is that made me an airhead. That made me too focused on what's in my head and not actually present with what's before me, what's around me. So it's just become very difficult to manage that, because it was difficult to manage that. Sorry, I'm not experiencing that anymore, and maybe at some point I'll experience it again, but I can always manage it and check it myself out because I've gained the experience to do so. Regardless, this is a very important thing to know.
So, 5 philosophies, 5 tools, and none of them are wrong. Every single one contains something true. The question was never which one is correct. The question is which ones survive when you hold them up against your actual life, your actual dark periods, and which ones stop being useful the moment you follow them without asking questions. No single tradition passes that test on every question. That's the whole point.
And that's where I believe is the biggest problem when it comes to people that are seeking out philosophy or self-help or self-improvement or introspection, whatever it may be. They get so fixated on what's the best system, what's the best this, what's the best that. People have become so used to consumerism that they treat philosophy like it's some one-stop shop that they can just buy and go out to fix their problems. Philosophy isn't something that you grab and all of a sudden it fixes the problems that you have. That's not how that functions. Philosophy is a school of thought, and you have to observe those thoughts to see if it functions in your life. Philosophy is more than just some product that you buy. It's it's just advice. That's all philosophy is. It's advice. It's advice on thinking, it's advice on living. Philosophy has never been something that you dedicate to. It's always been something that you grab, test it, play with it, study it, and see what works for yourself and leave it at that. Nothing more than that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I could go another hour mentioning other philosophies.
Yes.
I could spend another hour on religion.
Yes.
I could go deep on Christianity, on Islam, on
Yes.
Judaism, on
Yes.
Hinduism. I could go deep on politics,
Yeah.
left, right, middle,
Middle,
up,
up,
down.
down, yeah.
The specific architecture of how modern tribalism works and what it costs everyone involved.
Modern tribalism is exactly correct. We've become a very tribalist society, only interested in what we believe in and nothing else. We've become a country of many countries and many groups within those countries. It is insane how divided the people in America are. We are so divided.
But I'm not going to. And let me tell you exactly why. The moment I spend 15 minutes on any specific religion, this becomes a video about religion.
Yes.
And the comment section becomes exactly the arena I just spent this whole yapping session arguing against.
Yes.
The moment I say anything specific about left wing or right wing, half of the room stops listening and starts defending.
Yes. Yes. This is a hurdle that I had to just come to terms with. I can't be afraid of things like that. I need to just make videos, and the people that see that I am open-minded and I don't fully believe in the things I say, because, you know, there's always a level of entropy that happens when it comes to articles, research, or the things that you say, okay? I don't fully have to stand with what I believe in. If somebody thinks I'm wrong, I'm willing to hear them out to try to get to the truth of the matter, because I don't care about being correct. I care about the truth. I care about finding things out. And just because somebody says that is the truth, or just because I find the truth and I'm satisfied with that, doesn't mean that I treat it as an axiom. Even if I find the truth, it will always, in my head, be capable of changing. Because if I find something out as the truth, as soon as I start believing it's the truth, it's when I start deluding myself. It's when I start believing in illusions. Because not everything is guaranteed. Yes, there's core objective truths. Yes, the numbers don't lie. Yes, things happen. But at any point, that can change. Whoever has it better or worse isn't the question that we're supposed to be asking here. It's what's going on right now and what we can do and what can we do to fix that. I think that's a much better way of looking at life, because a lot of the times when we see in today's society, right? I even see it in my video about men and women, right? I only made a video about men, and I'm in the process of making my video about women. But in my men video, there was one comment that talked about like red pill and how it gave men their balls back. The problem is that this video discusses the very nature of what's wrong with red pill. I mean, you know, whether it gave men their balls back doesn't matter. What matters is how it's being used and what it's saying. So the truth of the matter is red pill isn't exactly, it's not perfect, it's not pure. So a lot of the time, you know, half of the room stops listening and starts defending is very true. Because when I talk about men and it's not fully man, then I have some men against me, and I also have women against me because I'm putting men in a light where they need pity, but some women don't believe men deserve pity. So what I've done in my video is I've only engaged with it in my way, meaning that I've only found my sources, I've found my reasoning, I've found my understanding all by myself. And I tried to purity test it as much as possible. And I found out that both men and women have it bad, and we're both suffering under a society that has put us in this position. I think both men and women suffer, and I think both of these problems should be looked at, not whoever has it better or worse, simply because we're too interested in validation. I think that's a very bad way of looking at it. So when he says this, I completely understand where he's coming from. I have made the conscious decision to not care about that and still do the things that I do anyways, because the people that understand me, the people that understand that I'm open-minded and I'm not here to validate anybody's beliefs on who has it worse or better, who's right or wrong. I don't care about that. I care about the truth. And a lot of the times the truth isn't what you want to hear. So the people that only care about the truth are the people that are going to follow me. I don't want a bunch of men that only believe in manosphere content to follow me and I become some alt-right or hardcore liberal leftist content creator. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in only the truth. And if somebody disagrees with me, but they still watch me because they believe that I care about the truth, then that's it. That's all I ever want. I want an audience that respects me to find the truth, and if I can't find the truth, they'll let me know. I think people are too fixated on right or wrong all the time. I think just allowing people to live as they are is the best way to go about it. And if half of the room wants to stop listening, then I'll let the other half of the room that is listening to listen to me. Because eventually I'll get enough people to start listening to the point where people stop defending and they actually start talking and listening at the same time. It's just about trust, honestly. Like, I feel like we're too fixated on and captured on validation, right, wrong, and identity. I think we need to understand that we're all just trying our best, and all of it comes from a place of care, but it doesn't have to be you versus me. It has to be us looking together in the same direction. So I've gotten to the point where I don't care about public opinion. People are going to say whatever they want to say. So I'd rather just care and only appeal to the people that have my best interest at heart. And that includes viewers that will watch me no matter if I'm wrong or right. It's viewers that will watch me because they like me, not because I'm becoming or trying to be somebody that I'm not. And I think that's a much healthier way of looking at content creation that other people don't really try to see. There's a degree of what I want versus what the viewer wants that I need to tolerate. If viewers want a certain type of content, then I'm obligated to give it to them. But if there's a certain type of content that I feel like should be given in my way, then I will not hesitate to change that content in a way that I feel is best. Because people decide to watch and I decide to create. I separate those two, but I balance them to the best of my ability. Because that's what harmony is about. That's what peace is about. That's what cohesion is about.
And I'd just be walking on eggshells the whole time, which means I won't be doing it honestly anyway.
Yeah.
So here's what I will say instead. The pattern I've been describing in philosophy, that pattern is identical in religion. It's identical in politics. And you already know what it looks like there.
Mm-hmm.
You either lived it, or you've watched someone you love live it, or maybe you've been the person others watched live it.
Right.
I don't need to walk you through it.
Right.
The point lands without me going there. However, what I will say is this. Every major religion, at its best, before the institution got its hands on the message and before power moved in and redecorated, contains something psychologically real.
Yep.
A framework for community, a language for grief and grace, and the experience of something larger than yourself.
Yes.
The instinct underneath religion is not stupidity. It's one of the most ancient and persistent things about being human. And dismissing it entirely because you've dismissed the institution might be one of the quieter losses the modern world has accepted without fully realizing what it gave up. And in politics, well, in politics, the fear underneath every major political position on every side is pointing at something real.
Exactly.
None of it is irrational at its heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's some things that you just can't really agree with. Sometimes people are just so stupid that the things that they're saying is just not something to engage in at all. Or maybe you can try your best to convince the other person that they're wrong. But the thing is like, you can spend all your time doing that, or you could spend your time not even fighting that battle and saving your energy.
And the system that profits from you never finding that out is running perfectly.
Exactly.
System pointing at something
Like,
real.
the thing is,
Profits
we're so focused on pointing fingers at each other that we're not looking in the same direction together. So, you know, left, right, up, down, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever it is, whatever theology, whatever ideology you follow, it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that nobody in today's age is really talking earnestly. Nobody in today's age, like, we're accepting, we're being ideologist. That's crazy. There's a new form of racism coming up, and it's the ideologism, or whatever you want to say or call it. It's looking at somebody lesser and allowing your ideologies and your theologies to compromise your opinions and value over somebody else based on their ideologies and theologies. That's so crazy. Like, it's a new form of it's a new form of danger that I feel like is being cultivated by the masses, or being cultivated by American society. We're no longer listening to each other. We're just yelling at each other. And the louder one is cheered.
you never finding that out is running perfectly. Now, let's go somewhere more personal.
This is a part of the video that I really enjoyed. This is the part of the video that had a lot of substance for me.
Now, let me tell you something that almost nobody talks about honestly, which is what happens when philosophical engagement becomes its own form of avoidance. Because there's a version of this, a version that I lived for years, where you become extraordinarily fluent in the language of inner life without ever actually going there. You learn the frameworks. You can place your suffering inside a tradition, give it a name, trace its intellectual lineage, describe it with genuine precision, and the act of understanding it creates the feeling of having done something about it.
It's very cathartic. It's very cathartic to be able to finally get over your trauma, but not really. The thing is that you can identify and study your trauma, your childhood past, all of the things about you. You can get that enlightenment and awareness where you see your shadow self and you're trying to accept your shadow self. But the problem is that recognition can feel like integration and progress, but that's only the feeling of discovery. That catharsis, that feeling of progress, you know, just because just because you're aware of it, just because you understand it, just because you're so precise with everything that you say, it doesn't actually mean anything. It's a lot of the time you're just giving it a name and then allowing it to happen anyways.
Which is bullshit. The description becomes the destination.
Yes.
The map becomes a substitute for the territory.
Yes.
Listen, I personally could talk about my own patterns with more sophistication than most people I've ever met. And I was still running every single one of them. For years. That's the thing. I would catch myself doing something self-destructive and think, yes, that's the shadow asserting itself. Very interesting. And then I do it again.
Yeah.
The philosophical fluency was real.
Yeah, you become so much more well-versed in your own pain, but it's still pain. It's still there. It still needs healing. It still needs genuine care. And the recognition of the pain and the wound being there and understanding the pain and the wound and learning how to fix it, that can feel like a fix in and of itself. He's talking about that trap. You're more interested in understanding and researching and thinking about the pain than you are actually feeling it. It's to the point where thinking is romanticized rather than integration and actualization and change. It's a very easy trap to fall into. I've been in this trap for 2.5 years. 2.5 years I've been in that trap. And I can say it confidently because it's only till recently, like 2 months ago, maybe more than that, like a little bit of 2 months ago, I finally started integrating and actualizing all of what I've been dealing with, all of what I've been learning. It's hard. It's really hard, and your brain will trick you in whatever way it can.
The change, however, was not. So, philosophy without psychology is a map of a maze with no instructions for how to walk.
I love this analogy. I love this. Philosophy without psychology.
Philosophy without psychology is a map of a maze.
Yeah, philosophy without psychology is a map of a maze with no instructions for how to walk. It's... Oh my god, it's such a good way. This video is full of so many good one-liners.
With no instructions for how to walk. You can see the whole structure from above, name every corridor and identify every dead end, and still not know which wall to put your hand on.
Yeah,
The understanding floats above the wound rather than reaching it.
exactly.
And mind you, this failure can go both ways. This failure mode can go both ways. I've watched it in people I care about. The person so deep in the therapeutic language of childhood wounds and nervous systems and attachment styles that they've become an expert in their own suffering without ever taking a single step away from it.
Yes. An expert in your own suffering without taking a single step away from it. I mean, these one-liners are just beautiful. I love hearing these.
The insight never becomes movement. The processing never becomes change. They can explain with clinical precision exactly why they do things they do, and they keep doing it. And they have increasingly sophisticated explanations for why that's actually progress, actually part of the journey. Psychology without philosophy is understanding every mechanism of your pain and having no reason it was worth going through. So you need both. More than that, you need them in tension with each other, in actual conversation with each other. Philosophy gives you the orientation, the reason to do the work, the framework that makes the suffering answerable to something. Psychology gives you the actual tools for going into the basement, finding what's down there and doing something about it that isn't just naming it.
Yes.
The places where they fail each other are worth knowing.
Yes.
Philosophy fails psychology when it becomes a language for describing your interior life that lets you stay at a comfortable altitude above it. When absurdism becomes a reason not to feel things fully because it's all absurd anyway. When stoicism becomes a reason not to examine what you're actually feeling because you've already decided that what you're feeling isn't the point. When any philosophical frame, no matter how accurate, gets used as a ceiling instead of a ladder.
Exactly. Exactly. A lot of the time, philosophy becomes a justification for not fixing anything. It becomes too logical, honestly. Like it's a bunch of axioms without any interpretation. It's a constitution without the Supreme Court able to interpret the Constitution. You need the Supreme Court, otherwise everybody's going to be fighting over the Constitution.
Psychology fails philosophy when it produces endless self-knowledge that goes nowhere.
Yes.
When the process of understanding replaces the process of becoming. When you're so committed to processing your experience that you forget to actually have one. Both of those failures are real. Both of them are seductive in specific ways depending on what you're trying to avoid. And the only thing I found that actually works is keeping both in play, using one to check the other, and being brutally honest about which one you're reaching for when things get tough and why. Let me tell you about Rainer Maria Rilke.
Oh my god.
He was an Austrian poet.
Yeah, he has to be Austrian with that kind of name.
Wrote something in a letter to a young poet that I thought was a cliche, but after you actually understand it, it's quite beautiful. He wrote, "Have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves." So forget the answers. He was talking about the questions. The not knowing that most people spend their entire lives trying to escape into a system. He was writing to someone young and lost, looking for certainty, and instead of giving him certainty, he told him to fall in love with the uncertainty itself. I didn't understand that the first time I read it. I understand it more every year now. And the person who taught me the most about sitting what I didn't know about myself wasn't even a poet. It was Carl Jung. Jung sits right on the border between philosophy and psychology in a way that makes him the perfect example of what I'm talking about. His entire project was built around one central idea: that the parts of yourself you've buried, they don't disappear. They go underground.
Yes.
He called this the shadow.
Yes.
And from underground, they steer. They show you in patterns you repeat without understanding why, in relationships that keep breaking in the same place no matter how different the person seems.
Yeah.
The people you most fiercely judge in others are usually carrying something you've refused to look at in yourself.
Yes.
Not always, of course, but often enough to be worth the discomfort of checking.
Yes, and I can to some degree highlight a lot of the bad things that I've had to deal with in my life. A lot of the people that I've dealt with in my life, you know. I can spend all my time looking at them, but as much as I can spend my time critiquing them, there's 20 more things I can critique about myself. A lot of the times when I observe somebody else and what I don't like about their behavior, I take a moment, and this is habitual, like I've done it so many times that it's just, I always keep myself in check. I always say something or try to be understanding, right? Sometimes I'm overly critical of myself after I feel as though I'm being critical of something else, right? It's because I feel like I'm more balanced and measured that way. I don't know why. It's just how I do things. Whenever I feel like somebody isn't doing something properly, whenever I feel like somebody is wronging me in a way, I always, one, introspect, and two, I feel like I could find 20 other things that I'm doing wrong or things that they're doing wrong, but is also something that I'm doing wrong too, just in my own way, right? Like, I think in a way to always give a well-rounded answer to. I leave no stone unturned when it comes to understanding things, and that includes how I feel about them and what objectively I should improve on.
The goal he called individuation, not becoming good, but becoming whole.
Yes.
Integrating the parts you've been at war with rather than continuing to pretend they don't exist.
Yes.
That's the work. Not therapy necessarily, not performance, just the unglamorous, ongoing process of going into the basement and actually looking at what's down there. And the danger of only following Jung, which is the same danger I was describing about philosophy generally, is that you can get completely lost in the labyrinth of your own psyche and mistake self-analysis for self-improvement.
Yes. That is the biggest danger that I've had to deal with when it came to my self-improvement and my introspection journey. A lot of the self-analysis, a lot of the thinking, a lot of the exploration, a lot of the introspection can be cathartic. It can be really satisfying, and it can feel like you're actually fixing everything. But again, the self-work, the self-improvement, the shadow self, all of this stuff can just become sedation for a wound and not its cure.
I've been in that room. I could describe my own psychological patterns with genuine precision, and I was still running every single one of them. A person who has memorized the map but never left the room has done, at best, half of the work. Jung gave me the most detailed description of the room I was stuck in. Philosophy kept me company inside it. But neither one alone was enough to make me actually leave.
Yeah.
And mind you, I didn't arrive at any of this through a single turning point or any book that I've read.
There's not much substance, there's not much material or media that teaches you this to begin with. I'm not sure why that's the case. I guess all of these have just become stories for men who have found their own way and have hoped that you are able to extract whatever you can extract from their words. So I guess this is just something else that needs to be extracted by somebody who feels like they've felt like this is important for people to listen to, right? So I guess this is like in a way this is just another vector for somebody who has found meaning and wants to share it. This is just another person that's done the same as everybody before.
There was absolutely no conversation that reorganized how I saw the world. What there has been, is years. Years of reading things that contradicted each other and trying to figure out what to do with the contradiction.
Yes.
Years of noticing the difference between understanding something and actually changing in response to it.
Yes, yes. Knowing something and actually understanding something are two different things. So you can know philosophy, but understanding philosophy means you have integrated it within your life and you know how to use the Swiss Army knife. You may have a Swiss Army knife, but you may not know how to cut wood with it or how to cut something with it, right? You may not know what a knife or a screwdriver or whatever other parts of a Swiss Army knife has. If you have tools that you don't know how to use, then all you have are just tools. That's it. You can't use them. All you have are just a random assortment of things. Not even tools, because you don't know their tools. But when you interpret and understand that, hey, this knife is meant for cutting when it comes to philosophy, that means I'm able to use what I've learned and apply it to my specific situation, which one requires a little bit of creativity, but two, it requires investigation. You need to investigate what the things you learn how the things you learn can be applied and helpful to you. It's no different than what you've been taught your whole life, to be honest.
And finding that gap much wider than I wanted to be. And look, I still use philosophy to avoid things sometimes. I catch myself building a very elegant intellectual structure around something I don't want to feel and calling it insight. The difference between who I was 10 years ago and who I am now isn't that I've stopped doing that. It's just that I notice it faster. And I've gotten a little better at putting the structure down and actually going in.
Yeah.
Noticing is apparently most of the work. I don't know if that's encouraging or not.
I think noticing is most of the work, right? Actually changing your behavior can be a lot easier than you think, but changing your mindset to a point where it's motivated to change the behavior is exactly where people struggle. I feel like there's also like there's also how God, I gotta jog my
Apparently
memory.
most
I'm
of
so
the
sorry.
work.
So yeah, noticing is most of the work. I'm going to be honest here. When it comes to journaling, self-help, introspection, philosophy, psychology, it doesn't take much to get to know yourself. Especially if you're on an honest lens. Like if you're being very honest to yourself, it doesn't take much really to get to know yourself and to know your patterns and to know what's wrong with you, right? But what I do think takes a lot of time is the act of fully embodying what you think and feel and understanding what you think and feel and building an identity around what you think and feel, but not letting what you think and feel compromise your identity as well. That's the hard part. That's the really hard part. You need to be very honest with yourself and you need to work hard to integrate what you actually believe in.
I don't know if that's encouraging or not. Look, let me ask you something and I want you to actually sit with it rather than answering immediately. Think of one thing you believe most confidently, whether if it's about yourself, about the world, about how people work, about what matters. Something that you have never interrogated with the same rigor you'd apply to something you disagree with. Just one thing.
One thing that I've never actually agreed with. One thing that I never examined, it's really hard to try to find a belief that is illogical because, you know, you would have to find something that's illogical, right? It's something that I really believe in. Mm, oh, I hate party games. I don't like party games. I think party games are boring. Okay. And when I say party games, I mean stuff like Lethal Company, Among Us, Repo, those games. I feel like they're very streamer baity and like they're not very fun to play. They may be fun to watch, but they're not exactly fun to play. Uh, so okay, I feel like that's boring. Now let me see what he says.
Hold it. Feel that slight defensiveness that just showed up? That instinct to justify it, to tell me why that particular belief is different and doesn't need interrogating?
Well, the problem is that I'm very healthy with the way I think things. This doesn't really work on me because anybody can think that Lethal Company is fun. Anybody can think that I don't think I'm the audience for this type of question. I think I'm way too free with the way I think. I think other people can feel like these games are fun, and I can feel like they're very boring for me. I don't have to agree, and the other person doesn't have to agree with me. But it's that freedom that I'm allowing that's the difference. That's the difference. So it's going to be really hard for me to find anything in particular that allows his question to fully materialize the way he wants it to. I feel like I could probably find something, but it would take way too long for me to find it.
That's not the belief talking. That's the armor.
Yeah.
And the armor is not you.
Yes.
That's the only thing I'm asking you to notice today. I'm not saying for you to abandon it or to conclude it's wrong. No, I just want you to notice that the defensiveness showed up and ask yourself what it's protecting.
It's that instinct to protect, that want to protect, right? To protect what you believe in, that want. That's not rooted in what you actually want. That's not rooted in something conscious. It's not a decision that you're making. It's a reaction. It's not something you're in control of. And that's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that the defensiveness, that armor, that jump that you make to defend or to reinforce a belief, you know, that jump, that's the reaction he wants you to observe. Because something that you may believe wholeheartedly may have compromised your identity. What survived?
To the question from the beginning of this video. What is the best philosophy to live by? I told you at the start there isn't one. And I meant that. But my honest follow-up, the thing I didn't mention in the beginning, is that not having a single answer doesn't mean having no answer at all. It just means having a different kind of answer.
Yep.
One that doesn't have a name in any tradition because it was never written down anywhere except in how you actually move through your life.
Right.
So let me tell you what I follow, what I've actually built and operate from. It doesn't have a name, but since I apparently need to call it something, and since the whole point of this is that I can't be taken too seriously, let's just call it the Chupum Balls framework. Look, I know. Somewhere in the philosophical tradition, Aristotle is having a crisis he doesn't understand yet. Nietzsche is retroactively angrier about everything. I'm sorry to all of them, and I'm not sorry enough to change it. Because the name is a joke, and the joke has a specific purpose. It stops this from being a monument.
Yes.
Because the moment any personal framework hardens into a doctrine, the moment I start treating how I operate as what you should adopt, I've become exactly what I spent this entire video describing.
Exactly. It's restarting the link. It's restarting the process. It's everything that he's been advising against. So having like a proper framework cementing the framework or the methodology that he's using right now and describing in this video, it's doing the exact same thing he was critiquing.
Now, I told you at the start that I lean heavily into absurdism.
Yes.
That's true, and I want to say why, because it's not arbitrary. Absurdism is a framework I return to most because it's the only one I found that doesn't ask me to pretend the silence isn't there. The universe doesn't answer back. the search for cosmic meaning comes up empty.
Yes, yes. The universe is silent and indifferent to our experiences, and we keep trying to ask for it to answer us. We keep trying to ask the universe to break the silence. If it hasn't for this many years, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So let the scientists do their work to figure out the meaning, to figure out life more, right? Not the meaning of life, to figure out more. Let the philosophers try to answer the very same question in the infinite amounts of ways that they can answer, right? Let them do those things. But be pragmatic about what you absorb in your life. Be pragmatic. That's what this is. It's about having no limitation and accepting everything, taking what's useful, discarding what isn't, and then adding your own. And even that in of itself is a philosophy, because that comes from Bruce Lee. But Bruce Lee mixed and matched philosophies. If you didn't know, Bruce Lee had a bookcase full of 1,000 philosophy books. I preach this take what's useful, discard what isn't useful, and add your own understanding of it for a very specific reason. That's because all of the philosophies can work, but under different situations. Because all of these philosophies were developed under different situations. So that means that there's a wealth of knowledge and information out there for you to collect, but these are all tools that you collect to use intentionally. If you're collecting information and values, whatever it may be, right, and it's not being used in a practical way in your life, well, I don't really see much use of it, unless it's for novelty. Unless I'm drawing simply because I don't want a future, I just want to draw because it's fun. And I think that's a good reason in and of itself. Entertainment and novelty is something humans love and should be kept in check, right? You know, within reason, you should engage with that. I feel like that's very important. Because, a quality life is a life where you can lead happily with your own internal values. Regardless, right? We can get into that conversation a lot, but I think it's very important that this framework, the Chupa framework, I mean, I know it's a ridiculous name, but it's actually very practical when you use it. And it's interesting, right? How something so basic is treated as something practical, something important to know, but I feel like it's been forgotten and it's not integrated into society the way I feel like it should be. I feel like society actively fights against this very thing, and I want to show it. I want to show that you don't have to follow everything. You can just figure things out for yourself and live the way you feel is best necessary. If life is testing your beliefs, and if life is telling you that, if reality is testing your beliefs, if reality is testing you, if reality is testing and testing and testing, well, maybe what you're thinking and feeling, whatever it may be, isn't right. Maybe you need to change to something that's better. So, but you need to discern when the person should change and when the environment should change. You need to discern between those two. And that's the part that gets tricky. Knowing when you yourself should change. And I think Bruce Lee's quote, "Take what's useful, discard what isn't, and add your own," is the most far-reaching quote that you can function under, because it will keep you the most open-minded, in my opinion.
And rather than collapsing into that or papering over it with a system that promises what it can't deliver, absurdism says yes and keep going anyway. So that's my home base. But a home base is not a prison.
Yes.
And what I've built around it draws from everything else on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Look, here's what it actually looks like in practice. This is not in theory, but in specific situations, because abstract descriptions of frameworks are nearly useless without them. When someone at work is making my life genuinely difficult and I can't control their behavior, that's where I reach for the stoic distinction. And this has nothing to do with not feeling anything about it, but more like I'm separating what's actually mine to act on from what I'm wasting energy on. The question isn't, how do I feel about this person? The question is, What in this situation actually belongs to me? Ladies and gentlemen, that clarity is the whole gift, believe me. I use it every time I catch myself burning through energy on something that was never in my hands to begin with. Alright, so another example. When I catch myself saying, oh, I can't do that, and something underneath knows I mean I won't. That's Sartre's bad faith alarm going off. Sometimes I act on it immediately, sometimes I don't, but I've stopped lying to myself about which one it is. And that distinction, as small as it sounds, changes something fundamental about how you carry your own choices. When I'm in a genuinely dark period, and I'm not talking about a bad week, I'm talking about a seriously dark period, that's when Viktor Frankl becomes more useful to me than Albert Camus. Because Camus tells you to keep going, which is true and important, but keep going needs somewhere to point. Frankl asks, what is this period asking of you? What is being built in this that you won't understand until it's over? Of course, this question doesn't make dark periods lighter, but it makes them answerable to something. And that's the difference between suffering that feels random and suffering you can actually move through.
I mean, right now, for me, a few months ago, whatever it may be, I honestly forgot about the whole situation. I don't remember when it was, but recently I had to deal with a coworker that got very frustrated with me. They got flustered because I couldn't keep up a certain standard at work. And I've realized that all of the troubles in my life, every single one of them, even if they're my fault, they keep pointing me towards a direction. And it's the direction of content creation. I've stopped fighting with myself. I'm not going to fight myself any longer. I want to make content. And this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. No, I didn't quit my job, okay? You need to be conscious of how you struggle and how you deal with things. It's not, oh, embrace the struggle, quit your job, go homeless, and find a way to create content. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, a lot of the times, your life will remind you of what you actually want. And, you know, it says keep going, but to where? And to where is what you decide. For me, I decided that everything in my life is telling me to point to content creation, to keep doing content creation. Because every time I get frustrated at something at work, I'd be telling myself, I don't have to deal with this if I go into content creation. I don't have to deal with a boss. I don't have to deal with somebody who's screaming at me. I can just create content, be my own boss, and scream at other people. So it's gotten to a point where I've realized that I just don't want to do anything but create content anymore. This is what I want my life to be. And everything in my life has reminded me of this belief that I have inside of me. So yeah, I completely agree with what he's saying here, because I can immediately bring up an example of it. A lot of the things in my life, not everything, a lot of the things in my life remind me of content creation. And that just shows how much I care about content creation to begin with. So I'm making moves. I'm making big moves.
When I've been gripping a self-concept too tightly, when I've been performing a version of myself for long enough that I started to believe the performance is the person, that's when I reach for the Buddhist question, but applied inward. Not what kind of wanting is this, but who is the one doing the wanting? The reminder that the story of being a fixed, definable self is a construction, not a prison sentence. That I'm allowed to be different from who I was last year without that meaning I was lying then or lying now. When I notice that I keep having the same reaction to a certain kind of person, when someone reliably produces a response in me that I can't fully justify with reason, that's Jung's shadow work being relevant. Something in what they're doing is reflecting something in me I haven't been willing to look at directly. Not always, like I said before, but consistently enough that I've learned to treat that kind of reaction as information rather than just a feeling. When I'm building something, let's use this channel for example, anything I'm trying to make or become, and the absence of any cosmic guarantee starts to feel like a reason not to bother, that's when Camus is the spine. The revolt is the point. The building matters regardless of whether the universe is watching or not. This might be a very philosophical take when someone asks me for advice regarding content creation or whatever it might be,
It's
but this is the only honest reason I've ever found to create anything.
and I think it's a very good, honest reason, because it really changes the way you think. That kind of reason. Instead of saying what type of content I should create, you're now in a position after learning this, what type of content do I want to create? That shift does more than you think. That shift is very powerful because you're no longer seeking external validation to a world that is not ever going to give you validation. You're now seeking an action that is aligned with your intention. What is your intention? Well, that's something you have to think about. Okay, well, how do I find my intention? You find it. You do it. You figure it out. You think about it. And however long it takes is however long it will take. So, you can't expect the universe, people, the audience, reality, whatever it may be, you can't seek answers outside of yourself. That's not how that functions. All of what you want and all of what you seek out in your life is already within you. There's no point in asking yourself what type of creation, what type of content I should create. You need to ask yourself what type of content I want to create. That's a more necessary question, because that's a question that helps you tackle this difficult situation on multiple fronts. It's tackling your belief that you need external validation. It's tackling your belief that it's not a belief that you might have, right? But it's shifting a lot of different frames or lenses that you're functioning under when you ask the question, what type of content should I create? Instead, what you're doing is adding more individuality, more intention, more separation from what you think you should be and what you actually are. Because if you don't like what you actually are, then you should change that. And that requires earnest work. And there's a difference between what you think you actually are versus who you actually are and what you're working to become. So please be able to discern the difference between all of this. So the biggest thing here is, hold on, let me jog my memory.
But this is...
Right. You know, a person isn't going to tell you what content you should create. Finding your niche. How do I find my niche? Well, that's up to you, nobody else. It's similar to saying, what should I do when I grow up? You know? Which college should I go to? Which diploma should I get? Like what type of major should I major in? Like what should I study? Right? That's up to you. That's your life. Nobody can tell you that. And it's really difficult because as soon as you start asking things that are identity related, that's when you need to start crafting more of your identity. That's when you need to start understanding what is your identity? What is it affected by? What should you protect it from? How should you understand it? It's very important because that's the prologue to your story. Who are you? And what do you want? That's the first step. Everything after that first step is magical.
The only honest reason I've ever found to create anything. When I'm chasing something and I can't quite tell whether I want it because it genuinely matters or because something in me is running from something else, that's the Buddhist question at its fullest. Not what do I want, but what kind of wanting this is.
For me, this is like a vape pen, like a indica sativa hybrid THC CBD, like a weed pen. I used to engage with it a lot, and then I've made a binding vow for myself, right, to never engage with it until I make it to where I'm self-sustainable on YouTube. To the point where I've found success. That's when I'll start using a pen, or when I'll use a pen, because that's my reward. And the difference between me getting a reward for a pen every time I'm productive, like every time I upload a video, and the person that says, let me get it after I make it. Let me get it after I finally accomplish what I've always wanted. The difference between that is the type of wanting it is. If I were to do it after every video, then obviously I'm going to find an excuse to do it without uploading a video, without making a video. Because the type of wanting when I create this situation is that I just want the pen. But when I say I'm gonna use the pen when I feel as though that I've successfully accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, and that is create a successful YouTube channel. Beyond that, that's when the goal will change, and that's when the reward will either change, or, I mean, the reward will stay the same after the goal is set. But you need to differentiate the type of wanting behind the goals and the rewards and the systems that you set for yourself. Because now I'm not going to grab a pen until I'm successful in content creation, something that I've wanted for my entire life. And after I become successful in content creation and I use the pen, does that mean the pen is free range? No, that means the goal changes and I get to have my pen after that goal changes. Like after I accomplish that goal after that. But it's why the pen is there. It's who is the one deciding who uses the pen? Is it the me that just wants the pen? Or is it the me that wants to succeed and likes the pen as an experience, so I reward myself with that experience after I accomplish what I feel like is necessary for my life? The type of wanting and the difference between those two wants is astronomical. You need to differentiate. I say you a lot, right? But I'm not trying to make it seem like you're the one thinking this way, okay? These are just lessons that I feel like should be heard. And anybody can take that advice however they feel. It's fine. I'm just a talking voice in your ear, and you choose to engage with whatever you want. So when I say you, it's just in general. It's not you specifically. But obvious stuff out the way, right? The type of wanting, the difference in wanting between those two types is that I'm more oriented in what's actually authentic to me, my life, my goals, what I want out of life, rather than, oh, I just want to run away from this thing, so let me grab the pen. Oh, I kind of want to feel nice because I'm habitually using this pen, so I just use it because, I mean, I don't do anything without it. Is that really a conscious decision? Let me buy a new pen because, you know, it's how I've always had a pen, right? Because it's a habit. When something becomes a habit, that's when you become unconscious. And something unconscious needs to be carefully examined. Because if I'm unconsciously grabbing a pen and hitting that pen and whatever, the type of wanting is all wrong. I'm not intentional. I'm not unconscious. The pen has now pierced my identity. It has now become something that I am. And I don't want that. So now I'm in a position where I can use the pen intentionally. Like any other substance, really, like drinking or something like that. I only drink once in a blue moon, and I only drink it when I'm having fun with friends. I haven't drunk in such a long time. And I think the pen should follow the same relationship. The pen should be guided by the person who is at most in tune and aligned with their future and their life. The pen should be chosen by the one who has the most consciousness and the most intention. So when I decide what to do with a weed pen in my life, I need to make sure the person who's doing the deciding is not the one who wants the pen. It's the one who wants to live their life in the way that's most necessary, in the way that's most authentic, in the way that's most aligned with the person. And the me that is talking right now in how to use the pen is the one that is only interested in content creation. This pen has nothing to do with my content creation. So why would I waste my money on it? Why would I waste my time on it? Why would I make myself a worse content creator because I'm under the influence of drugs, right? I'm under the influence of a substance. Why would I influence my thinking when I'm trying to make content? I feel like I'm not going to be able to articulate my thoughts properly. It could be more entertaining, but there's a time and place for that. In this video, I would not have been able to talk about, talk on the level that I have been talking had I been under the influence of that pen. That doesn't mean the pen is bad. That means I need to be intentional with how I use the pen, because the pen isn't my life and the pen isn't my identity. So what I need is to be aligned with my life and my identity. And I think I should be rewarded for that. So if I'm choosing to vow to myself that I will reward myself for being aligned and taking the actions that I take, that's rewarding my wanting. That's not rewarding my bad type of wanting. That's rewarding the high quality wanting. It's rewarding the wanting that is aligned. If I'm not successful, I will never use the pen. Interesting how that works. So you need to use these things intentionally. This is what it's like to have psychology and philosophy fully materialized into your life, fully integrated into your life. That's what it looks like. Because I need to stop looking at using the pen as a battle. I've already accepted that I use the pen. I've already accepted it. But I'm not a person who uses the pen. That's not my identity. It's just something I like doing. So if it's not my identity, then I need to treat it as such, meaning that if it's something that I like, well, let's do carrot and stick for the type of like that I want, or the type of want that I have, right? So instead of just wanting the pen and rewarding myself for wanting the pen, I instead reward myself for wanting to take aligned actions. And I'm sorry to go on such a big ramble about this, but I feel like it's a very specific and important thing to talk about, because I feel like it will help people try to figure out how to apply the information that they receive, because I think that's the biggest gap in our society right now. Learning and understanding to apply the information that you receive.
Like I said, those are completely different questions with completely different answers. And learning to tell them apart changes how you move through almost everything.
Yeah.
And of course, underneath all of it, the Jungian imperative. Not to be good, but to be whole. To keep going into the basement rather than decorating the entrance.
Yes.
To keep asking what's down there even when I'd rather not know, because what I don't know about myself will make the decisions for me anyway.
Yes.
And I'd rather be the one driving. From religion, and I'm not going deep into specific traditions here, I take the gravity of ritual. The discipline of recognizing that you are not the center of the universe. The understanding that community is not optional for most human beings. That a person alone with only their own thoughts eventually starts making arguments to no one and calling it wisdom. And the language of grace. The idea that I can come back from things, that the worst version of a moment doesn't have to be the permanent version of a person.
Yes.
From the political space, I take one thing, and only one. The obligation to hold two fears simultaneously instead of choosing one and dismissing the other as stupidity or evil.
Yes.
To treat difference as evidence of different experiences rather than different levels of intelligence or morality.
Yes.
And to remain permanently suspicious of any system, including my own thinking.
That's the very important distinction to make. To be suspicious of everything, including your own thinking. This type of instinct that you try to build into yourself is the best way to being open-minded and being truth-oriented.
That conveniently produces the conclusion that everyone who disagrees with me is either stupid or evil. So that's the whole thing. It's a set of tools, a way of asking questions. It's not a religion, not a doctrine, not a movement, not a lifestyle brand. A practice of not stopping. And I want to say this one more time because I said it at the start and I mean it now exactly as much as I meant it then. This is what I do, not what you should do.
Yes.
What I do.
Yes.
Built from what has actually held up in my specific, unrepeatable experience of being alive.
Yes.
Your version, if you build one,
Will look
different.
And it's supposed to be that way.
It should look different.
Oh.
The moment it looks exactly like mine, something has gone wrong.
One last thing.
Now,
What do we
ladies
got?
and gentlemen, I want you to understand that there will be periods where none of this works, where
Yes.
the stoic distinction doesn't help, where the absurdist revolt feels hollow,
Yes.
where the shadow work has no bottom and no light, where the framework you've spent years carefully building doesn't hold the weight of what you're actually carrying. You have to understand that those periods exist. I've been in them. Most people who are being honest with you have been in them too.
Yeah.
So I will continue saying this as many times as I can. The framework isn't a cure.
Yes.
It's a diagnostic tool.
Yes.
It's a practice.
Yes.
And practices fail sometimes. They stop being enough for the specific weight you're carrying right now. So when that happens, it doesn't mean that you built the wrong thing. It means you're in something that requires more than ideas. And the honest thing to do is say that and find it. Whether if it's another person, in a professional, or in something that has nothing to do with philosophy or psychology at all.
Yes.
So I'm not the answer. Nothing I've said in this video is the answer. The answer is something you build yourself, over time, under pressure, out of everything that has actually held up in your own specific, unrepeatable experience of being alive. Not what I held up in mine. Not what held up in Camus or Jung's or anyone else's. Yours. Built from the things that were true when everything else fell away. And I want to say this one last time, because I meant it at the start and I mean it now. I have not spent the last however many minutes telling you how to think. I've been showing you how I think, what I use, what I've kept, what I've thrown out, and why. What you do with any of it is entirely yours. The most dangerous thing about rigidity isn't that it makes you wrong. That's not even the biggest problem. Being wrong is recoverable. Being wrong and correcting it is literally how you learn anything worth knowing. For me, in my opinion, the most dangerous thing is that it makes you unavailable. It makes you unavailable to new information and to different experiences.
Yeah.
It makes you unavailable to the person standing in front of you who has lived something you haven't and might have something to show you if you'd stop defending long enough to look. Every wall you built to protect what you believe also keeps out everything that might improve it.
Yes.
I'm not asking you to abandon your faith or your politics or your philosophy or your psychological framework. Roots are good. They're what let you survive hard seasons. What I'm asking, the only thing this entire yapping session has been asking, is whether the roots are actually yours. Whether you grew them or whether you found yourself standing in someone else's garden one day, got comfortable in the shade, and forgot to ask whose trees these are. That question might not have a comfortable answer. I mean, it didn't for me. But the uncomfortable answers are the only ones that change anything. The comfortable ones just confirm what you already decided before you asked. That's it.
Very, very amazing video, honestly. I loved that video. I think it's a very important video that everybody should watch. It really highlights a lot of the difficulties that people who are aware, like aware on this level, right? People who are on this level of awareness, it's very difficult to try and tell somebody who isn't on that same level, to teach them this lesson. And I feel like the way he puts it and articulates it, the way he articulates it is very much, it's still walking on eggshells, you can tell, right? That's why he refuses to say anything about anything specific and mostly just tries to keep it as a tool, a Swiss Army knife, for somebody to interpret their use in their own lives. I think it's very important to have something like that, genuinely. So let me make sure I have everything here. Wow, what a delightful video. What do you guys think? You think that was a good video? Oh man, that went on for longer than I thought it would, honestly. I might have to call it with the gaming stuff. Maybe I'll game tomorrow or something else. We'll see. But I really do want to get other stuff done. So I'll just leave it at that. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna be live tomorrow, to be honest with you. I need to get a schedule going, but that's what this is for. Every video that I upload is gonna be asking people what schedule I should have. Oh God. Regardless, to anybody who tuned in, to anybody who has tuned in and isn't here anymore, thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad. To any newcomers, thank you so much for following as well. I'm gonna be ending the stream, and either I will stream tomorrow or the day after, whatever it may be, whichever one comes first. I don't know. I will post it on my YouTube channel on the posts tab of my YouTube channel. I will post when I stream, and my Twitter. I will also post my streams on Twitter too. I'll try to do both at the same time. So that way nobody misses any streams that I get if they're able to attend. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, or follow, whatever it may be, wherever you're at.